There are the Pro Late Models getting ready to go 35 laps tonight in their feature event for this, the 7th night of the World Series of Asphalt Stock Car Racing. Tomorrow night, the special event, the Richie Evans Memorial 100 for the Tour Type Modifieds. That will wrap up their week. And, of course, Saturday's special, the 100-lapper for the Super Late Models, the Orange Blossom 100.
I love the Richie Evans 100. I mean, the tradition, just doing it in honor of the late, great Richie Evans, a 10-time NASCAR modified champion. Always have a great field of cars. Everybody wants to win that race. It's, I think, as important as that race that we had with the actual Wayland Modified Tour here on Saturday, the 200-lapper. I think people want to win that Richie Evans Memorial as much as they would like to win that 200-lap Wayland Modified Tour race. It's that important, and we should have a great one here. We've had a lot of great Tour-type modified racing throughout the course of this week. And then you double the distance, should be a great one.
A lot of cars expected to start this Pro Late Model event. Pit Road is full of those cars. You can see it from all the way at the Turn 1 end, all the way back to the Turn 4 end as top qualifier. Not really a surprise here. He's done it a few times this week. Ryan Luza getting it done again in qualifying after a feature win last night. He drew the 4-pill. He's going to start on the outside of row number 2. Carson Brown, the 4th fast qualifier on the pole. Carson's had a pretty good week himself. The Moseley, Virginia driver, a teenage star, finished 4th, 1st, 29th, and 2nd. He's had a really good week other than that one DNF when his car fell out middle of the race 2 events ago. Katie Hettinger has had a really good week as well, was up there competing around the top 5 last night. As we take a look at the standings, Connor Jones is the point leader by 22 over Hunter Wright. Would take something drastic to take the championship away over the final couple nights for the Pro Late Models, but that 22-point advantage. Then Ryan Luza, he had a DNF mixed into this week. That's why he's down in 3rd. Carson Brown, Brent Cruz rounding out the top 5.
Adam, Hunter Wright has been extraordinarily consistent this week, but the problem is he's been consistent from 4th, 5th, 6th, or 7th, whereas Connor Jones has been consistent 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. That's been the difference right there. And we saw those two go at it head-to-head here a couple of years ago. And right now, Connor Jones having the upper hand in the 44 car. You see them lined up nose to tail down there on pit road as field starting to roll off. And there's a good look at Katie Hettinger and Brett Cruz as they roll off. Katie in the 81, Brent in the 24. Those two drivers have had really fast race cars this week, but haven't really had a lot to show for it. Some tough luck for both of those drivers.
Brent Cruz starting in the 3rd position. 2nd fast in qualifying was Cruz. Pretty good starting position tonight. Jacqueline?
Absolutely, that 24, Brent Cruz. Some may know him as a dirt phenom coming from the Tulsa Shootout. And, of course, he podiumed during his qualifying night at the Chili Bowl. But he's expanding further into the asphalt area here. He also is the youngest winner in the Trans Am Series back in July. Hoping to go for it again this year full-time in the Trans Am, as well as a mix of late model starts. So it's good to see him progressing here in the Pro Late Model division. We'll watch out for him in the remaining 2023 season.
Well-versed driver, different types of race cars he's been successful in. He's been pretty strong this week as well. We mentioned the front row starters. Brent Cruz, that 24, is starting in row number 2 alongside the 77 of top qualifier Ryan Luza, coming off another win. He has won this week last night. He finished 2nd the night before that, and he's looking to go back-to-back, and he's in a pretty good spot on the racetrack to be able to do just that.
Dawson Sutton set to roll from the 5th position alongside Connor Jones, 2-time winner this week and our current championship leader. Hunter Wright in the 29 car. He will start 7th alongside fellow Nashville Fairgrounds Raceway regular Chase Johnson in the number 20.
Starting 9th is the driver that came from the Northeast and has raced just 2 nights. Last night was his first this week. Eddie McDonald, where he finished 5th. He kind of faded back early, then rallied to get back up into the top 5. Gavin Bushell in the number 5 will start on the outside of that row. Bushell this week, driver from Mooresville, North Carolina, looking for his first top 5 finish. He's got a good starting position to do just that. Charlie Keevan was pretty solid with a bunch of 6th-place finishes, but then last night fell out of the event, starts 11th tonight. TJ DeCare, consistent this week, logging a lot of laps for the young driver of Car 88.
been a long week for Dakota Stroop. He's in the backup car after a crash in practice on Saturday. He's going to roll off 13 and the number 47 alongside TJ Monroe and the number 16 automobile. Corey Luciano in the 94 will start 15th alongside Jeremy Wharf in the 00W.
Next starter is Anthony Cataldi in the 00C tonight. Ruben Caceres in the 77 will start outside in the 18th position. Then Tony Breidinger in the number 1 and Jimmy Renfrew Jr. in the 00.
Tony made some laps in ARCA Menard Series practice over at Daytona International today. She's got a good car there this week, and keep an eye on her once we go racing on Saturday afternoon. Johnny Crash, Johnny Aramendia, back for more tonight. He's going to start 21st in the number 58 car after a heavy crash here last night. Mike Mayberry alongside in the number 45. Kevin Folan, another driver who has had some ups and downs this week. He will start 23rd alongside Mario Hart. 1.1 million Instagram followers for Mario Hart. Riding along with him tonight, he's going to start 24th.
Brandon Turbush in the 17 starting 25th as the field doubles up at the 2 to go. John White's in the 99 starts 26th. Nicholas Noggle in the 08 starts 27th. There's Gus Dean in the 56. David Weaver in the 11 and Ryan Camish the 42. The other scheduled starters in our field tonight. It's a big field of pro late models, 30 on the entry list. We'll see if they all make the call as we get ready for 35 laps of action here tonight. Coming up next will be the 602 modified 66 lapper, the Grandpa Blewett Memorial 66, the Tour Modifieds, and the 50 lap feature, and the super late models and their 35 lapper as well. Still plenty of action here tonight. The World Series of Asphalt Stock Car Racing, the Pro Late, seeing the one to go this time.
Carson Brown and Katie Hettinger on the front row. Katie has had an extraordinarily fast race car all weekend long. Last night, she was running up near the front. Car spun in front of her, had nowhere to go, popped the outside wall in that number 81 Anthony Campy Racing prepared automobile.
They have waved off the one to go. They've gone back yellow again. TJ DeCare in the 88 was not in his correct position, so they were trying to get him where he needs to be. That's in the 12th position. It looks like they have succeeded in doing just that.
Should get the one to go this time around. 35 laps the distance here in our Pro Late Model feature event. Of course, a big night coming up for them. 100 laps, I believe, tomorrow night, alongside that Richie Evans Memorial 100 for the Tour Type Modifieds. And indeed, yellow flag still out here at start finish. So apparently some other drivers not in their proper alignment as we get set to go. Been a bit of a challenge some of the nights here for these Pro Late Model drivers.
Two of the nights have gone pretty smoothly. They were the middle two nights. The ones on the outside, the first night and then last night, they were rough. Tore up some equipment. Hate to see that happen, but that's to be expected. These are kids, a lot of them, young drivers with very little experience. Plenty of rookies when you look down the list of those that are here in the Pro Lates. There's some veterans mixed in. And I think that's one of the advantages that Ryan Luza has in the 77 and what we've seen him do with great qualifying efforts in that Jet Motorsports car. As the one-to-go signal is now given, next time to the green, Katie Hettinger. We thought that she may see a win this week. She had that crash last night, but it looks like she's all good to go again. A fast race car and has a great starting spot outside of row number 1. Could tonight be the night for Hettinger?
She's got a good shot at it alongside Carson Brown on the front row. Brent Cruz, Ryan Luza back in row 2. Dawson Sutton and our championship leader Connor Jones in row 3. Field picking up the pace, coming to green off of turn 4.
Carson Brown doesn't get going quite as quickly as the 81 of Hettinger as we're underway down into turn number 1. Brown tries to close the gap to fight back as the cars will slow on the back straightaway for a yellow for a failed opening start. First time we've seen this week where the opening start was a failure. Hettinger kind of pulled away a little bit too soon. Carson Brown kind of laid back. So he's just as guilty, I think, in this scenario. They did not cooperate well in that front row.
They did not. So we'll line them back up in their original starting positions. Carson Brown to the inside. Katie Hettinger to the outside. Brent Cruz, Ryan Luza back in row 2.
Kevin Fullen, 17, to the pits. Crew checking out that ride.
Good looking race car. Love those blue wheels.
See the one to go this time. Try it again next time around for a complete restart. Everybody's back in their original starting positions where the failed start of the front row. Carson Brown and Katie Hettinger. Pace car lights are off. Watching all of our coverage of the 57th World Series of Asphalt Stock Car Racing. On Flow Racing here from New Smyrna Speedway. Charles Crawl, Adam Mackey here in the booth. Jacqueline Drake bringing us all of our reports down on pit road and in Victory Lane here tonight as the New Smyrna Speedway pace car heads to pit road, coming to green. Off of turn number 4, report from the pits, Kevin Fullen, radio issues. Should be back out on the track as the green flag gets us underway in this 35-lapper. A much better start this time. The top 2 make some contact. Up the banking goes Hettinger. Into the lead goes Brown.
Carson Brown just banged off of Katie Hettinger there going down into turn 1. Hettinger up the racetrack, and Carson turned it left. Really big time to take that lead, but Hettinger getting her head of steam back up. That car's taken a couple of laps to get going throughout the course of this week. And now we see the battle on between Luza and Brett Cruz for second. Connor Jones lurking back in 5th as they go 3 wide behind.
Nice move by Dawson Sutton to say, I'm going to save some race cars here. He was in the middle of that sandwich. He checked up. He allowed Johnson in the 20, right in the 29 to go by. Now back to the battle for third. Inside, Brent Cruz. Outside, Ryan Luza for the 3rd spot.
Luza has had a very fast race car all week long. He's had a couple of nights of really tough luck, but he's also ended up in victory lane here this week. He is working to the outside of Brent Cruz. Ooh, they knock fenders a couple of times as they work down into turns 1 and 2. Connor Jones trying to find his way underneath both of them in the 44. A good 3-way battle for position.
Luza quick enough, I think, to be out there, but Cruz actually making the work a little bit harder for Luza than I'm sure he would like. It pushes him back another spot. Luza now in 5th. Connor Jones, the car on the move. He missed the invert, qualified 6th. The invert was 4, but the point leader for the Pro Late Models, Connor Jones, on the move early. Right now in the 4th spot, looking for 3rd.
Going to stick the nose underneath Brett Cruz off at turn 4 and try to pull alongside down the front stretch. Again, some contact between those two as they race their way down the front stretch, but Cruz going to give him plenty of room through turns 1 and 2. Jones couldn't make it stick. He falls back in line down the back stretch.
Jones in the 44 right there on the rear of the 24 of Brent Cruz. Follows closely the top 2. Carson Brown and Katie Hettinger getting away, and here comes Jones. Good run off of turn number 2 to the inside.
That car has handled well all week long. Doesn't matter if it's the top side of the racetrack or the bottom side of the racetrack. Connor Jones has been able to put that car wherever he has wanted all week long, and right now he has pulled alongside Brent Cruz. The battle for 3rd. Give it to Jones off of turn 2 is now Ryan Luza to the inside of Brent Cruz. The battle now on for 4th.
Luza side by side for position. The 24 of Cruz up the track at the line. Luza has taken the spot by inches at the stripe that time, trying to clear the 24 of Cruz. Not quite yet. Still on the high side. Will clear him by turn 3, and Ryan Luza now starts his trek forward. Still plenty of time left in the race. 9 laps down at the line this time for the leader. Right there, he flies by the finish line, Carson Brown.
Carson Brown's got a half a second lead on Katie Hettinger. Connor Jones, Ryan Luza, Brent Cruz. Cruz 2.3 seconds back. There is the gap, half of a second up at the front of the field. Hettinger, let's see if she's able to start cutting into that advantage as they flash across start finish. Nope, still about a half a second the gap between the 25 and the 81.
Had an outstanding week before the crash that she got caught up in off of turn number 2 when they checked up in front of her last night and hit the outside retaining wall. They've been able to get her back on track for tonight, and she is strong again. Was so close to winning just a few nights ago, and a yellow flag kind of thwarted her effort there as it shuffled her back into second. Watching is the 25 of Carson Brown. Works around the 11 of Weaver. Lap car to the inside. Hettinger trying to close the gap. It was at 0.7. Now it's at 0.5. She's starting to reel in the leader.
There's Hunter Wright going to battle against Dawson Sutton in that number 26, the white and blue car. Hunter's had a good week so far. Again, just hasn't been able to get that consistency up near the front of the field, but he's been extremely consistent, 5th, 6th, 7th, just about every night. And he's got some company there in the form of Dawson Sutton in that 26 as they work their way around Weaver in the number 11 down into turn 3.
Hunter in the 6th spot. That's Hunter Wright in the 29. The 26 of Sutton running in 7th. Second place in points is Hunter Wright, but 24 points back of the point leader, Connor Jones. A difference of 12 positions. There's Folan moving over for the lead lap cars. He made the pit stop, and he's slowing now, coming pit side again. Hunter Wright trying to hang on to his race car as Sutton challenges down the front stretch.
29 car very loose as they roll through the center of the corner, and it looked like Dawson was going to get up there and maybe knock on the back door a little bit right there, but no contact, no harm, no foul. Hunter Wright still holding on to the 6th position as we close in on the midway point here. 20 laps, make it 19 laps to go this time around.
Good clean action so far, and Ryan Luza, after passing Brent Cruz, has run down Connor Jones. So Luza on the move. This is going to be a tough one to pass, though. This 44 has been outstanding this week for Connor Jones. 16-year-old driver. Last 2 years, he has been runner-up in the Pro Late Model standings of the World Series, trying to make a statement this year and win the championship with finishes of 1st and 3rd and 1st and 3rd. I'd say that's a pretty good statement.
Pretty good statement as we see some slower traffic bouncing off of one another as they try to work their way down onto pit road. Luza still right there on the back bumper of Connor Jones as they work their way through turns 1 and 2. We just now are past the halfway points. 18 laps in, 17 to go. Luza on the charge, almost in the back bumper there of Connor Jones off of turn 4.
Just close the gap right there. Just needs an opening, but Jones has his car hooked up pretty well. Able to get some good turn exit there off of 2. Luza again tries to rally and close the gap. It'll be 20 laps in, 15 to go. This time at the line. Final 15 laps, and the battle continues for 3rd between Connor Jones and the 77 of Luza.
There's a good battle for the lead. Brewing as Katie Hettinger now looking to the inside of Carson Brown off of turn 4. They've caught a couple of slower cars, one of the 00 cars on the racetrack there.
Cataldi getting a rare start this week, moving over.
And there's Mario Hart in the 15. We've talked about Mario a couple of times. Out of Peru, 1.1 million Instagram followers. I had a chance to meet him over at the big track in the month of January. Very interesting young man as he moves to the top side of the racetrack and allows the leaders to race underneath.
This might be Katie Hettinger's last chance, depending on how the last night or so goes for the Pro Late Models, and she's closed the gap. In fact, was up there as Luza in the lower right of the screen will take 3rd from Connor Jones. Luza up 1 more position. Problem is he might run out of time in trying to catch the top 2 as they're exiting turn 2 now. He's in the middle of 1 and 2. He finds himself 2 seconds back, make it 1.8 seconds back of the lead and about 1.5 seconds back of 2nd place.
Connor Jones not giving up. He's still all over the back bumper there as they work their way off of 4. Now the leaders continue to work around lap traffic. They move around the 58 of Johnny Aramendia. He had that big-time crash here on the front straightaway last night. A lot of damage to that number 58.
There it is.
Here comes Hettinger. She's going to move Carson Brown up the racetrack. Can she make it stick into 1?
Hettinger to the low side, made the same move that we saw another driver make with her leading the other night. She couldn't quite pull it off this time. Brown chases it up the racetrack, able to hold off Hettinger so far. She has plenty of time. 9 laps to go. We may see the same move here shortly.
Hettinger's car really coming to life here in the late stages of this race. She is all over that back bumper of Carson Brown down into 1. Hettinger again putting the nose underneath. The 25 car gets loose on exit. Here comes Hettinger down the backstretch and into 3.
He gives her room this time up the track. He's chasing that car. It is free right now. The setup going away from the 25 of Brown. New leader at the line. Contact made. Oh, Brown, will he save? Yes. In fact, he's going to go right back after Hettinger for the top spot.
Wow, what a save by Carson Brown into turn 1. Katie Hettinger with a 1 car length advantage. She needs to get away from Carson. Carson might not be too happy with how That went down as they worked their way into one. You can see the tire tracks there. He drifted that car, four-wheel drift into one, but Hettinger putting some distance on Carson Brown, now in second.
Hettinger the lead with 29 laps in, this time at the stripe. 6 to go for the leader, Katie Hettinger. Working traffic around Weaver. She's had a very good week here at the World Series. Has come so close on a couple of occasions from getting a win. Tonight, with 5 laps to go this time, could very well be at Luza, the top qualifier, catching Brown, going to challenge for second by the end of this one.
Ralph Moore giving the signal. 5 to go this time around. Katie Hettinger holding on to a 0.6 of a second advantage. Here comes Ryan Luza now closing in on Carson Brown. Luza trying to pick up as many positions as he can here as the sand quickly slipping through the hourglass. 4 to go this time around.
Battle's going to be for second and third here momentarily as Luza closes the gap. Is right there. Pro late model driving veteran Ryan Luza, just 26 years of age, but a lot more experience in these cars than the others that he's competing with. And he's shown it on a number of occasions this week. To the inside for the runner-up spot. Here comes Luza. Should be able to pull this pass off. Brown giving plenty of room. Will drop back to third.
Luza's got a really fast race car. I just don't think he's got enough time without something happening here to close the gap up, as we've got 2 to go this time around for Katie Hettinger. 2 more laps of racing for the driver of this number 81 Anthony Campy Racing prepared automobile. Been a big week for that team. They picked up a win in the super late model division last night with Casey Roderick, and they are now 1 lap away from going to victory lane here in the pro late model division with Katie Hettinger. Hettinger off of 4, looking at the white flag.
Final lap. The 1 to go for the 81 of Hettinger. Takes it down off of turn number 2. Big gap. She's built up of over 1 second advantage. She's had some great runs this week. She puts it all together tonight. We thought it could happen, and tonight it will. Katie Hettinger finds victory lane at New Smyrna.
Ryan Luza across the stripe in second. Carson Brown third. Connor Jones and Brett Cruz rounding out the top 5. But what a night for Katie Hettinger. Career win number 1 in the World Series of Asphalt here at New Smyrna Speedway. Katie Hettinger going to victory lane.
John White's in the 99 car, spun around him just moments ago, went down a lap to the leader, to the outside. She was able to get around him. Then he spins down in 3 and 4 on the last lap. But how about Hettinger? And I think a well-deserved win here. 15 years of age, young lady from Dryden, Michigan. 2nd and 3rd place finishes. Bookended by 12th and 32nd.
And you know what's interesting is she has been one of the first drivers to go to victory lane to congratulate other drivers this week, including her teammate Casey Roderick last night. And now she ends up in victory lane here herself, unbuckling the helmet. I can't wait to see the smile on her face. A very happy young lady down in victory lane.
Great run and well-deserved. She has been good each and every night. Gets ready to climb out as we send it down to Jacqueline.
Katie Hettinger is going to exit out of that 81. Katie, the smile on your face right now. Congratulations, your first victory here at the World Series of Asphalt. Walk me through what was going through your mind.
Man, we had a good car. It wasn't perfect, but it was good. 25 was really good. I knew I really was going to have to be smart with him. I do apologize. I did get into him a little bit, but this win was mine tonight, and I'm so glad I could get it done. Thank you, Wheeler Trucking, Anthony Campy Racing, Team Chevy, Mobile One, Friend Filters, and Autolite Spark Plugs.
You are not done yet. There's still more racing to go here this week, but you've had such redemption tonight. How does it feel to finally have one underneath your belt?
Feels freaking amazing, and now I'm ready to get it tomorrow.
Katie Hettinger, the winningest female at Hickory Motor Speedway, going to receive congratulations from the car owner here. Happy team down here of ACR.
Freaking amazing. How about that?
Yeah. Look at that. The celebration in victory lane. You know they've got great equipment. The Anthony Campy Racing team with Casey Roderick in the Super and Katie Hedinger in the pro late model. They've been fast. There's Casey Roderick there celebrating with her.
And, you know, she very easily could have let some of that misfortune bring her down, but she has not let that happen to her at all this week. She's kept a positive attitude. She's kept the smile on her face, and it's all paid off with a big win here tonight.
It was just a couple nights ago, Connor Jones kind of used a little bump and run down in turn 4 to move her over. She tried to do the same thing tonight. It didn't work.
It did work.
So then she ended up passing the car out front. Carson Brown cleanly as his setup sort of faded away. Second place finish for Ryan Luza. Great week he's had. Jacqueline?
Yeah, Ryan's catching his breath a little bit there. You had quite the rocket ship in those final few laps. Were you hoping that you're going to be able to capitalize on another win tonight?
Yeah, I was hoping they were going to battle a little bit harder, but Katie ended up getting by them. Or we really needed a caution. I just got doored by the 24 up on the restart, fell back to 5th. Just can't really make up that much ground here in these pro cars. I think we had something for them, but, you know, didn't quite have enough time. Just got to thank everybody who's on board, Nouveau Elevator, AMS Roofing, Pat, and everyone at Jet Motorsports for this opportunity.
Ryan Luza going to bring it home in second place for that 77.
Definitely a good run for Luza. Like he said, he was hoping they'd battle a little harder so he could catch him, but he just couldn't as he was mired a little too far back in the field. Third place, Carson Brown. I think he was hanging on to it a little bit. He did a good job to allow room. Wanted to finish on the podium, and that he did. Jacqueline?
Yeah, the 25 Carson Brown bringing it home on the podium tonight, battling there for the win. What was going through your mind with that conflict, or that contact there with the 81?
Yeah, I was just hoping we could finish the race after we got turned right on in the straightaway by the 81 team. But, oh well, we'll try and fix the car and see what we can have tomorrow.
Rackley Racing sure has put together a rocket ship for you, and you've had a successful World Series so far. What are your thoughts going into the 100-lapper?
Yes, we have. Rackley Wars gave me a very good pay cafe number 25, and hopefully we can just get better and see what we can do tomorrow.
All right, third place. Going to bring it home, Carson Brown.
That wraps up. Excuse me. That wraps up. I was, I think a bug.
Been a long week.
Flew in there,
A long week.
As Katie Hedinger claims the win in the Pro Late Models. We're back next. The 602, the Tour Type Modifieds, right? Coming up next?
Yeah.
No, the 602, then the Tour Type.
66 laps.
A little bit of an intermission coming up here, Charlie.
Let's take
We'll be
one.
back with more after this on Flow Racing. There's a look at the 602 Modifieds lined up on pit road, getting ready to go for their 66-lap event. The Grandpa Blewett 66 for tonight's 602 Mods. Their final race of the week. They've raced 3 times, 2 wins, going to Trevor Catalano, and he was defeated the last time they were on track a couple nights ago.
Yeah, he has had a really nice week so far in that 54 car, but ended up just short the other night. He's got another shot at it here tonight, but just look at those cars, man. A huge field of cars for this special 66 lap event in honor of Grandpa Blewett. And, we've talked about this, Adam, all week long. This division has grown so much here since it first came down a couple of years back. And, you and I didn't really know what to expect out of this division when it took to the track for the very first time. And I think it's safe to say it's exceeded my expectations and really has just continued to with the number of cars that comes down, the close side-by-side racing. And, yeah, sometimes they have a night where they bend up a little bit of equipment from time to time. But overall, I think this class puts on a really great show here and very exciting racing. We saw one race earlier this week that had a 1/1000th of a second margin of victory. It literally cannot get any closer than that.
Well, a tie. That would be it.
It could.
And you could see it on video. It was, very, very tight.
It was, absolutely.
We've seen some good racing. The last time they were on track, not quite as good. They were a little rough, had a number of yellows, which is bound to happen. It's much like a pro late model division where a lot of the drivers are very youthful. Elgin Trailer, Statboy dropping in saying, that would be the first female pro late model winner during the World Series for Katie Hedinger. Becca Caston, of course, won in the super late model years ago when she was competing during the World Series. Hedinger also is the first winner in the pros from the state of Michigan, meaning we've had 22 different states and pro late models plus Canada win in the World Series and pro late model competition. Katie Hedinger claims victory. at New Smyrna Speedway. We have the 602 Modifieds coming up in just a moment. The Tour Type Modified 50-lap feature will follow that. Super Late Models doing 35 tonight will be the final race of the evening, as the 602s tonight have Nick Bear and Richie Cooper, and will make up our first row. Now, Eric Lane and Andrew Lewis will be in row 2. Jack Baldwin and Trevor Catalano will make up the third row. Trevor Catalano, one to watch. The 54 car, 2 of 3 have been victories, and his other race, he finished all the way back in second place.
All the way back.
Had he had a chance, maybe with a late race yellow, he could very easily be 3 for 3 in victories. Trevor Catalano in that red number 54.
And, of course, the race that he did not win was won by a young man in a very familiar-looking race car down here. Luke Baldwin picking up the win in the 7NC for his father, Tommy Baldwin's race team. And what an impressive performance that young man showed the other night. And, you know,
there's our points.
And
it's tight.
There's a look at the points. Really, hey, literally cannot get any closer at the front of the field.
Luke Baldwin and Andrew Lewis Jr. tied at the top of the standings with 130. Lee Sharpstein, 128. Trevor Catalano, 123. They also get some qualifying points, yes, I believe, and that's playing a part into why he finds himself 7 points behind. Evan Rogalski, 114, 5th in the standings. But I'd say this is about a 4-man race for the points battle, and tonight's going to determine the champion.
And Evan was the driver who came up 1/1000th of a second short to Trevor Catalano the other night. He's had a pretty solid a pretty solid World Series here this week as well. We see the final couple of cars clearing the front stretch after victory lane ceremonies complete for the Pro Modified division, or the Pro Late Model division. So the 602 Modifieds will roll out here momentarily.
Taking a look at some of the other drivers we have toward the front of the field, Bobby Jones will start on the outside of Baldwin in the 8th position. Paul Hartwig Jr., the 73, starting 9th, starting 10th. Justin Beecher in the 57, and we will finish the rest of that lineup. A special presentation getting ready to take place down on our front straightaway, and we will go to that.
There goes 66 laps tonight in honor of Grandpa Blewett. Of course, we saw the Blewett Memorial yesterday, won by Matt Hirschman. And again, 66 laps for the 602s. They have qualified 4 cars into the championship finale. And we're getting ready to have a very special presentation down here on the front straightaway. Rusty gets back. I'm going to turn it over to him. He went to find a few people. Again, hope you got in on the 50-50 raffle. See Cecily's still working her way through the grandstands, so she might be bringing it to me. Let's go ahead and take care of some business while we wait.
All right, so we'll take it back until they're ready. Rusty, can't keep an eye on him. He done snuck away.
I'll tell you what. If you think you're going to pin a member of the Hart family down here for even 20 seconds throughout the course of this week, it is crazy.
So they will wait for Rusty Marcus to come back.
Of course, Rusty's not a member, but he's a member of the extended family managing the racetrack. Yeah.
So a 66-lap feature coming up for the 602 Modified. Special presentation coming up as soon as Rusty, the general manager of New Smyrna Speedway, gets back to the front straightaway. Big field of cars again. We have an entry list and a starting lineup of 33 on there. And that's if they all make the call. Usually there's 2 or 3 toward the back of the field that do not make the call on these starting lineups. Giving you the top 10 starters, Cody Norman in the 12R will start 11th. Evan Rogalski, he's had a fast race car, kind of qualified a little deeper in the field as he would have liked to again, will be starting in the 12th spot. Adam LaCicero starting in the 13th position in car 27A. And James Blewett, this race means a lot to him.
Absolutely.
Has 66 laps to try to get up there and contend for the top positions in this Grandpa Blewett Memorial 66-lapper. The final race of the week for the 602s, of course, will be back. The 100-lap Richie Evans Memorial race coming up for the Tour Type Modifieds tomorrow night. And then on Saturday, the Orange Blossom 100, a special event for the super late models as well. As Rusty Marcus, the track general manager, take it away.
Everybody, are you having a good time? Oh, come on, really? Are you having a good time? Tonight we're doing something that our employees don't even know about. And I want to make sure that we get the motors turned off before we do this, because this is a very special moment for New Smyrna Speedway. Give me that. For years and years and years, you've been coming to New Smyrna Speedway, and there's one thing that's constant during the World Series of Asphalt. A true classic, a true friend. If everybody would stand up, please, and give a round of applause for Mr. Ben Dodge. If you'd stay on your feet for me, we've made a plaque for Ben. A couple years ago, he wasn't able to make it because of some health issues. This plaque and this cup were given to Ben, and it says, from New Smyrna Speedway, Ben Dodge, your decades of entertainment are second to none. New Smyrna Speedway, the racers, teams, fans, staff, and the Hart family love you. You are the voice, the storyteller, and the pillar of Speed Weeks. Your stories and love for this sport will forever live in our hearts. You are our hero and friend, New Smyrna Speedway.
Thank you so much. I'm totally honored and touched, to be honest with you. I came here as a young man. Robert's dad, Clyde, took me the first day I was here. I was 13 years old, and he took me to see the cows down the street. And I said at 13, what in the hell am I doing here? But all those years with all those great legendary people and all those special friends, there's one family that always made me feel like home. It was Robert Hart, Jane Hart, later became Andrew, and I was so thrilled to see pictures of Wyatt, the youngest and newest member of their family. Rusty Marcus, Ryan Stevens, and all of these people that are standing here next to me, they made me feel welcome. For those of you that don't know, this past year I was stricken with stage 4 cancer in the worst possible thing for an announcer, in my throat. And they told me that I wouldn't be able to ever do what I loved again, and it was to announce. But it was Robert Hart and Jane Hart and Rusty Marcus who said, if you can, no matter what, please come and see us. That was my inspiration. This is a great man that stands before me, Robert Hart, and a great and special woman that stands next to me, Jane Hart. Holly, all of these officials that I have dealt with and met, Brian Stevens, who I believe is one of the most talented up-and-comers, and Rusty Marcus, who works so hard and shows and adds such personality to this Speedway. God bless you all, and thank you. This is a night I will never forget. Thank you.
And Ben, I want to clarify something on this plaque because it's the first thing that people look at and they go, oh, you shouldn't have put that. You should have put World Series. I put Speed Weeks, even though we're not supposed to use Speed Weeks, because you oversee everything in the state of Florida during Speed Week. So by God, I'm using Speed Weeks on there. Folks, give him another great big hand. The man, the myth, the legend. We love him to death.
Well deserved, no doubt, for Ben Dodge, the longtime voice. 44 years, he told me the other day, he's been coming to call the tour-type modified action here at the World Series. And still great to hear his voice come on. Of course, the Richie Evans Memorial 100, and that's what he said to me the other day. He said, man, you know, as an announcer, the last thing you want is something to be stricken with issues with your voice, your tongue, your throat, and that's exactly what Ben has fought through. It's been a tough last year for Ben, but he's back with us this year again, and great to see him here.
I'm going to give us a little humble brag. We were walking up the stairs the other day, and he came over and said, hey, you and Adam have been doing a great job this week. And to hear that from somebody like Ben, who indeed has 44 years of experience and it is one of the most well-known racing announcers in the country, That meant something to me. It definitely did to hear that from Ben, and it is a well-deserved honor. Certainly remember reading his columns in the old Stock Car Racing magazine when I was a kid, and have always looked up to guys like Ben who just have an encyclopedic knowledge of everything related to racing.
Getting ready to fire up the 602 Modifieds as we go racing for the third feature of the night, the 602 Mods, followed by the Tour-type Modifieds and the Super Late Models, still set to go here this evening as two of our events completed. We have, this will be our second special distance affair of the night. Watching all of our coverage here on Flow Racing of our seventh night of the 2023 57th running of the World Series of Asphalt Stock Car Racing. 602 Modifieds, we gave you quite a bit of the lineup. We'll start with the 15th position where we pick up. Right after James Blewett in the 14th spot, Carson Dijon Tomaso in the 33 starting 15th. Jarrett Dijon Tomaso, the brother, starting in the 16th spot. Michael Brennan starting 17th in the 41. And Troy Bollinger in the 35 starts 18th.
Ryan Fisher in the 02 will roll from the 19th spot alongside Brian Rogelski in the number 20. Jake Nelke had some issues last night. He's going to go 21st in the 00 alongside Ethan DeRocher in the number 16.
Ricky Collins in the 51 will start from the 23rd spot. Jonathan Laurie in the 74 will start 24th. Matt Rico in the 73 will start 25th. And Joe Winchell behind the wheel of the 33. Fountain Machine starts 26th.
Pat Wall in the 5 starts alongside Ron D'Alessandro in the 124. Rob Schultz in the 04 starts alongside himself. We got Rob Schultz listed twice. So I'm going to guess that Lee Sharpstein in the 17 car will actually start in 30th. And we've seen Lee come from the back multiple times. He's up near the front of those point standings, so we'll keep an eye on Lee coming from the back.
Tony Hamburg and Tony Pereira, the final two scheduled starters in the 602 modified feature, getting ready to go. They've yet to fire the cars. The pace car at the front of the field. Very special racing machine to lead the field off of pit road. It looks like all of the drivers have buckled in. Don't see any crew members around their cars at this point. And they do. They'll fire them up now as we get ready to go. 66 laps tonight for the 602 finale. Two more nights of action. We'll talk about those right now as we have the Richie Evans Memorial. We all know that. Tomorrow night, 100 laps will be the distance in that Tour-type modified race. But we also have the Pro Late Models running 100 in the heart-to-heart race. The modified reunion will be here, taking some laps around the track. Of course, they do that car show out in the parking lot throughout the day, so get here early to check that out. The trucks will be here for a 25-lapper, Super Stocks at 20, Bomber Bs at 20, and the vintage cars, 20 laps tomorrow night as well for the Friday evening action-packed portion of the World Series. Saturday night features the Florida Modifieds coming back for their finale, 35 laps. The trucks, a 50-lap race. Mod Minis will be here for a 50-lapper. Super Late Model Orange Blossom 100, Super Stock 50, and the Bomber Bs. If you can get out here to the racetrack and check it out with us, New Smyrna Speedway, come join us. If not, you can catch it all right here on Flow Racing.
There's another look at that replica Bobby Isaac Dodge Daytona. Absolutely gorgeous race car. Can you imagine, Adam, seeing that car fly around the high banks at Daytona or Talladega at 210 miles an hour back in 1970?
Coming up next will be the Tour-type Modifieds. Going to run 50 laps tonight. And the man who's been dominant, Matt Hirschman, got lucky with the draw. He'll start on the pole position.
Yeah, he needed some luck to go his way. He's had a tough week, hasn't he?
Been outstanding. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, dominant efforts, no matter the laps, whether it be the 250 lappers or the 76 lapper for the John Blewett III Memorial last night.
You know, I have the great pleasure and the great privilege to spend some time around three-time Daytona 500 winning crew chief Tony Glover, who is one of the lead technical directors for the NASCAR routes, including with the Whelen Modified Tour and the ARCA Menard Series platform. And I was talking to Tony and told him about Matt's week, and he looked at me and he said, you know, I think Matt Hirschman is one of the top 10 race car drivers in the country.
I would agree with that.
That is a heck of a compliment coming from a guy like Tony Glover. And Matt has had that type of week. He really has.
When you figure there's a field of 30-plus every night in your division and you are dominating, it goes to say something for what you're able to do against that type of competition. And many of those same drivers have picked up wins in the past. It's not like he's racing against a bunch of slouches.
Absolutely not. To beat, guys like Patrick Emmerling, who has had a phenomenal week this week, just hasn't been able to get there and knock Hirschman off.
Second, the last 3 nights.
And it is. It's been the level of competition is still there. Hirschman has just been that good this week.
You see the 12 of Nick Bear leading the field around the track. Nick Bear, good qualifying effort, ends up on the pole tonight. A Pennsylvania driver, a World Series rookie, was the 2022 Mahoning Valley Sport Mod champion. This week he's had finishes of 16th, 10th, and 26th, but he put it together in qualifying to get the good starting spot on the front row. Richie Cooper, that 36 car on the outside of row number 1. Cooper, his best finish was 8th 2 nights ago in their most recent race, so don't count him out. But the ones we're going to watch for, Andrew Lewis outside of row 2. We've seen that 65 car fast throughout the week. Then the Baldwin car, Jack Baldwin starting 5th, Luke Baldwin starting 7th, and Trevor Catalano starting in the 6th position in the 54 outside of row 3. That's probably the key one to watch. 2 wins and a second-place finish for Trevor Catalano.
Field continuing to circulate behind the pace car, warming the tires, getting the fluids up to temperature. 66 lap distance tonight. More than double what we normally run. So Nick Bear will start up on the front row alongside Richie Cooper. First time we've seen them, both of those drivers up near the front of the field. Keep an eye on Andrew Lewis out of the 4th starting position. Andrew, I believe, tied for the point lead here for the championship. He's had a very strong car. There you see him on the right side of the screen, the white car with the orange and black trim, number 65.
Getting the 2 to go. Field will double up now. Get ready for a green. Final night for the 602 mods. Hopefully they'll use some patience tonight. It's a long race. They're used to competing in 25 to 35 lap features. Tonight they get 66 paces around New Smyrna Speedway.
I'm going to remind each and every one of these drivers what my grandparents used to say to me. You can't win the race on the first lap, but you sure can lose it. Let's hope these drivers keep their patience pants on and take it to the finish.
One of the cars making a trip down pit road here early on, one of our multiple number 12 cars, Cody Norman. Checking out that ride to see if something's not correct in the rear end. Maybe breaking something in the rear end of the race car. 1 to go for Nick Bear and Richie Cooper.
.66 laps to go. Lights off on the pace car. Field doubled up. Nick Bear, Richie Cooper, Eric Lane, Andrew Lewis, Jack Baldwin, Trevor Catalano, Luke Baldwin, and Bobby Jones. Keep an eye on Paul Hartwig in the 73 car. We haven't seen much out of Paul this week. He's a stout contender here in the 602s. He's alongside Justin Beecher as the field picks up the pace in 3 and 4. Coming to green for 66 laps of racing here at New Smyrna.
Good start for the front row. All the way back through the field, looking pretty solid. We see a couple drivers step out of line for a potential 3 wide. They tuck back in, entering the first corner. A high entry for Cooper. Costs him a little bit of ground. To the inside lane comes Eric Lane for the lead from his 3rd starting spot heading to turn 3.
Jack Baldwin to the bottom side of the racetrack. He had a hard crash in practice the other night and missed a couple of nights of on-track action. But that car looks stout here in the early going. He's side by side with Nick Bear for the 2nd position.
Baldwin low side. Brother right behind him, Luke Baldwin. Watching the leader, Eric Lane lead the field through 3 and 4. Some different names and cars at the front of the pack here tonight in this 66 lapper than what we've had as of late. Up front, though, Eric Lane leading the way.
And there's Jack Baldwin in the 12 car, looking to the inside of Nick Bear, trying to make it stick. The 7NY, the 7NC. And look at Paul Hartwig Jr. in the 73. First time we've seen him crack the top 5 this week.
Side by side, look out, nearly running out of room was Baldwin there. Had to run to the outside of Nick Bear. Checks it up as now it's the Baldwin brothers racing side by side. And yellow will wave. The caution lights are on for problems on the racetrack for the first time. It's the 5W with a spin. Pat Wall loops it around. He started this race back in 27th. And now he will pull away from turn number 2, bringing out our first yellow. They waited for a moment to make sure that he wasn't going to pull away before throwing that first caution flag. They get the first 3 laps in, 63 to go. Lane leads. First time we've seen him up front this week. Eric Lane out of Howell, New Jersey, 27 years of age, a World Series rookie. Again, just one top 10 finish that came 2 nights ago in the 602 Modifieds. Saw the Baldwins getting racy with one another there. They are currently 3rd and 4th. Will be restarting most likely in that second row.
Yeah, Luke Baldwin has progressed very nicely throughout the course of the last couple of days. We remember going back to opening night where he started up near the front and lost a bunch of positions coming to the green, and took him about 10 laps to really find his rhythm. Then the next night, took him about 5 laps to find his rhythm. The other night, he went at the drop of the green, ended up in victory lane, and both he and brother Jack both going towards the front here, the early going. Just 3 laps complete here in our 66 lap 602 modified feature, but we're going to keep an eye on the pair of those Tommy Baldwin Racing prepared 7 cars as we go back racing.
Officials double checking the lineup before they are told to double up. Hopefully in a lap or so we'll see just that. This is the first year that they've used the choose rule at the line, so competitors get to choose which lane they restart in. Sometimes you can pick up a spot or 2, but maybe not the lane you necessarily want, as we will come back to the 2 to go and the choose this time. 95% of the time, the leader has chosen the outside lane for the restart. We'll see if Eric Lane does just that. Nick Bear will be the second driver to choose which lane he goes to. For the first few nights, it took a while for a number of the drivers to get used to it. They were running over the choose arrow on the front stretch, and they get penalized and sent to the tail. It's been better as of late.
It has been really good as of late, but the first couple of nights for this group was a little rough.
This is one of those 5% where the leader chooses the inside lane. So Eric Lane says, I like the inside with where my car is. A lot of guys taking the inside
here. I
here.
saw several drivers going to the inside there, so someone's going to have an opportunity to pick up a bunch of positions here in the outside lane coming back to this green flag.
So Lane is the leader in the 24. He'll restart from the pole, the inside of row 1. Nick Bear will start from outside of row number 1. Of course, Bear started on the inside pole position for the beginning of this 66 lap race. Then Jack Baldwin chooses inside of row 2. Luke Baldwin chooses outside of row 2. Next time we will go green. One thing we have noticed, if you have an immediate caution on that first lap after the restart, they've kind of just been using the same lineup order. Whatever lane you chose, you go back to, since they didn't complete a lap.
Lights out on the pace car. We'll go back racing. 63 laps remaining when we do go back green. Eric Lane and Nick Bear on the front row. The Baldwin brothers, Jack and Luke, in row 2. Paul Hartwig and Trevor Catalano coming back to green with 63 laps remaining. Ralph Moore waving that green flag. We're back racing, and let's see who gets the advantage down into 1. I see some tire smoke as they make contact, and the number 12 of Nick Bear in the outside wall.
Big hit for Nick Bear, the outside front row starter, as he and Lane went into the first corner. Didn't look like big contact between the two, but something breaking perhaps on the 12 of Nick Bear, because he shot up into the wall, and then obviously the right front is no longer intact on the 12. So still 63 down.
Just a tad
to go.
bit.
63 to go.
Just a tad bit askew on that right front right there. Let's take a look at what happened here on the Flow Racing replay. Keep an eye on your front two cars, Eric Lane and Nick Bear. And right about here, Eric's going to drift up and try to get that lane down into turn one. And he just makes a little wheel-to-wheel contact there with Nick Bear. And Nick loses traction and heads up to the outside fence.
Just looked like the left front tire at that point wasn't turning left to continue the motion into the turn. We'll watch another look. The Flow Racing replay going down into the first corner. Lane was heading toward the bottom. The 12 of Bear started going toward the bottom. He locked up the brakes, and that's part of it.
That's what happened there is he locked the brakes. And, of course, when you do that, just like when you're on ice, when you lock the brakes, you lose all traction and all direction, and up into the fence he went.
So the night will end early. It was a hopeful effort for Nick Bear as he had a good qualifying spot. Started toward the front. Fact on the pole, and now he will head back to the infield. The right front broken on the number 12. Still 3 laps in, 63 to go. Kind of just turned down a little bit quicker than the 24 of Lane turned down into the corner.
I think that might have been Nerf bar to left or right front contact right there, and that bar locked that wheel up a little bit and knocked it out of, maybe knocked the steering wheel out of the driver's hand as well, and he jumped on the brakes and up he went.
3 laps in to our 66 lap Grandpa Blewett Memorial at New Smyrna Speedway for the 602 Modifieds. Has the makings of what could be a lengthy evening, depending on what happens here in the 602s. This is our last long-distance affair, the 50-lapper for the Tour-Type Modifieds coming up next. And then 35 laps for the super late models. We'll round out our program. There's 2 nights left after this. You know, we always talk about this. The first 4 nights, it seems like, man, we've got a lot to go. And then you get to this point of the week, and it's boom, 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 quick, done.
Yep, absolutely. And then you start to wonder where the week went. And it happened to that point right now. It seems forever ago that we had the Wayla Modified Tour here on Saturday night, and it seems like forever ago that, William Byron won the 35-lap, Monday night late model feature event. And, of course, he backed it up on Tuesday night with a win in the ASA Southern Super Series, the 100-lapper on Tuesday. And it just seems like such a long time ago, but, as I mentioned earlier, it's been an action-packed week, absolutely, and a lot of great racing, and still a lot of great racing to come, even yet tonight. As you said, 50 laps for the Tour-Type Modifieds, a 35-lapper for the super late models, and kind of all in preparation for a very big weekend of longer distance special events for those 2 divisions.
2 to go and choose this time, and he's changed his decision this time as Lane takes the outside and opens up the inside for Jack Baldwin. Luke Baldwin will restart outside of row 2. Paul Hartwig Jr. now running in the 4th position inside of the 2nd row. So he's changed his mind.
I think that's a good call, personally.
Chose the inside last time, and then the contact between he and Bear, with Bear going up into the wall.
And Jack Baldwin right here, this spot on the racetrack, had a hard crash in practice the other day and cleaned off the right side of that automobile. That team has been working hard for the last couple of days to get it back in one piece, and he has had a great run in that 7NY. He's got a 1-spot advantage over his brother, who won here last night, or the last time these cars were on track a couple nights ago.
Catalano now finds himself back in 8th for the restart. So
he lost a couple of spots on that restart, didn't he?
He was up as high as 6th. That's where he started, was 6th. But now he finds himself in 8th as the one of Bobby Jones has worked by, and so is Hartwig. Coming to green, turn number 4, the leader outside of row number 1, Eric Lane. Ooh, Hartwig with a bump as Hartwig gets up there to battle.
He wants to get going. He told Jack Baldwin, it is time to go, young man, as he thumped the back bumper of that 7NY. Look at Paul Hartwig trying to work his way to the bottom. That car all kinds of sideways as he put the power down. And here comes Catalano in the 54.
Catalano to the inside of Jones for the 5th position, side by side for 5th. He can stand to be a little bit patient, but I'm sure he did not like the fact that he had lost a couple of spots. In fact, he and Jones in a hard battle now for 5th position. The Baldwin brothers for 2nd and 3rd, taking advantage in the outside lane is Luke Baldwin.
And Paulie Hartwig's going to move to the outside, too. He couldn't find the traction he needed to get around Jack Baldwin to the bottom side of the racetrack, so he's going to go to the top side and wind that 73 up and try to get that momentum built up. But Jack Baldwin going to slide back up in line and hold on to that 3rd position.
Now we'll watch as Trevor Catalano, the 2-time winner this week in the red and white 54, starts to make his effort toward the front. 5th place now with the first 6 laps in the books. Hartwig, best that we've seen that 73 car all week, but about to be overtaken by Catalano.
Catalano in the tire tracks as they lost a couple of car lengths off of turn 2 that time to the top 3. Eric Lane, Luke Baldwin, Jack Baldwin running nose to tail through turns 1 and 2. Now Luke looking to the inside a little bit. Couldn't get the power down to pull up alongside. Eric Lane going to hold on to the top spot.
Watching the throw, look out. Saving it. Lewis tries to keep it off the wall and does. Andrew Lewis in the 65. That car stepped out of line. It's been fast this week. But this will relegate the 65 of Lewis to the tail of the field. The 14-year-old driver has finishes of 6th, 3rd, and 4th. Has had an outstanding week. In the points battle with Lewis up there among the top competitors, taking a big hit right here.
Tied for the championship lead for this division here in the 57th running of the World Series of Asphalt. We'll send him to the back of the pack and we'll do some serious harm to his chances of winning that championship in this division. But still a long way to go. Still 59 laps to go, a long way. So if he stays patient and stays out of trouble the rest of the way and can work his way back up into contention, he may have a shot at it here.
Lewis going to bring his car to the pits. We'll see what the crew does. Andrew Lewis started the race in 4th. Here's a look at the Flow Racing replay. Right side of the screen, the 65 goes in, and it really steps out. Like it was almost too much rear brake or maybe losing front brake. But the 65, he's fortunate the wall didn't complete itself there. It was the opening that he happened to find, and he's able to keep it from hitting anything. So Lewis to the pits, where they will work underneath the back end of the race car, checking the tire pressures. Seem to be happy with it. They give each other the okay. The crew, car is down and off. Back to the racetrack goes Lewis from the back of the field. So Lane leads, Eric Lane, followed by Luke Baldwin, Jack Baldwin, Paul Hartwig Jr., and Trevor Catalano. He's worked his way back up to 5th. Still early, just 7 laps into the race for the 602 Modifieds. We've had good crowds this week, great car counts. We've talked about it quite a bit as we got here on Thursday for practice and the pits. Not only the infield, but the outside pits, all the way around turn 2, turn 1, where normally would be personal vehicle parking for pit competitors. Not the case. They had to expand the pits all the way around to turn 1 and have room for everybody. Yes, camping too.
Just insane how many people have been on the grounds here throughout the course of the last few days. And, talk about the car counts. We had, well over 35 cars for the Wayland Modified Tour event on Saturday night. We had 34 super late models here on Tuesday. We've been in the upper 30s all week long for the tour type mods. We've been in the, upper 20s, low 30s for the 602s. Even the super late model division, the lowest number of cars we started in the super late model division, I believe, was 20. And just a growth in every one of these divisions from where we were last year. And it's really impressive to see just about every square inch of space around this racetrack is occupied by a race car or a person.
It's a great place to be. Make plans to attend if you couldn't make it this year. schedule some vacation days for 2024. Enjoy the weather. It's been beautiful most of the week. Started a little bit sketchy with Friday and Saturday last weekend seeing some rain. As the field will be coming to green, leader of the race is Eric Lane. He chooses the outside of row 1. Luke Baldwin to the inside. The green is back out.
Let's see if the last feature event winner, Luke Baldwin, can make some hay to the bottom side. He gives Eric Lane a little nudge, and Lane drifts up the racetrack. Luke Baldwin going to take the top spot. Let's see if he can bring Paul Hartwig Jr. with him. Hartwig to the inside in the 73. He's going to take second.
Hartwig to the runner-up spot. By far the best run all week long that the 73 has had. We saw the 73 in contention for the first 2 years of 602 Modifieds, up around the top 3 and 5. Just hadn't been the case yet this year. Here's the battle for third. Lane on the outside. Jack Baldwin on the inside. Catalano chooses the outside, wants to try to race around the Baldwin car. Does at the line. Move Trevor Catalano to fourth.
Jack Baldwin stuck to the bottom side of the racetrack. That car hasn't been as much up to speed as he would like as he continues to get freight trained to the top side of the racetrack. Here comes now Evan Rogalski in the 27 car trying to work his way around Jack Baldwin.
Rogalski to the outside lane. Here's second place up for grabs. Lane fell back on that restart. Now starting to make his move forward. Gets a run on Hartwig coming off of turn 2. Catalano will try to follow. He chooses the inside. Thinks Lane's going to be able to pull this off. So does Baldwin. So does Rogalski. This time at the line, they complete lap number 11. 55 laps to go. Lane couldn't pull it off. Squeezes back up in front of Catalano, who's now going to make a charge at the 24.
Yeah, Eric Lane needs to send Trevor Rogalski a thank you as we've got cars in the outside wall. That's Jarrett Dijon Tomaso and Andrew Lewis, one of our series point leaders, hard in the outside wall.
2 fast race cars, the Dijon Tomaso crew. They've had a lot of bad luck this week. Just haven't been able to repeat their success from last season or the season before. Karsten Dijon Tomaso still out there racing. He had won 4 of the 6 602 races coming into this season. And already Jarrett's out of the race, and the 65 of Lewis as well. He was up on the wall just trying to avoid and knock the right front off of it.
And some big-time damage to both of those cars. It'll shorten their nights. Let's take a look at our Flow Racing replay. Keep your eye on that black car with a white number 38.
Oh, blew it. Just locked it up. We've seen this twice in this race where the drivers lock up the tires and then just go straight forward. Same for Lewis. Gets up on the wall. Good shot on our Flow Racing replay.
Let's take a look one more time as that 76 car got sideways and Jarrett just tried to avoid it. He kind of overcorrected at the same time as he locked those brakes up, and the car just went straight to the outside wall, and Andrew Lewis had nowhere to go. Do understand officials report everybody's okay on the backstretch, so that is good to hear. But those race cars, not quite the same could be said for both of them.
So 11 down. Slow start for our race. 55 to go. We get a long green flag run. I think we're going to have some good excitement at the front of the field. We have Luke Baldwin has taken the lead. Hartwig in second. Lane in third. Catalano is fourth.
I want to see what Paul Hartwig can do here on a long run. That car looks like it's got some speed in it. He's had not really had the week that we expected him to have, but he's got that car running pretty well for tonight's 66 lapper. And I think Trevor Catalano has been kind of trapped in traffic. I want to see what he can do if he gets a shot to come up and run up near the front of the field. I think both of those cars might challenge for the win here this evening.
Cleanup just about done in turn number 2 with 55 laps to go. Champion will be determined tonight in the 602 Modifieds, in addition to the winner of this Grandpa Blewett Memorial 66. Tour type Modifieds. They will be up next. That is our next race on track. Looking forward to that 50-lap race. Hartwig in the 73. Currently in the second position. New Jersey driver. Coming in, had 6 starts and 3 top 5s, but this week a 10th, a 5th, and 11th. Not quite as strong as that 73 has been the last couple years.
Absolutely. We thought he might contend for the championship here this year, but it just hasn't quite been the week that he was hoping for. But hey, he might turn it around here tonight with an impressive win should he go to victory lane in our 66-lap Grandpa Blewett Memorial. Still a long way to go, just 11 laps in the books, 55 laps remaining as we continue cleanup over in turns 1 and 2.
Big weekend racing, 10 nights here, counting the practice that was last Thursday. And everything opens up on last Friday. Only got one feature in that first night, the Sportsman. Got 2 or 3 features in on Saturday, including the 200-lap race for the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. And it's been clean with great weather ever since.
You know, looking back to Friday night, that's Derek Griffith's only feature win to this point.
Yeah, that was in a Sportsman.
And that Sportsman feature, he has had a tough week in that super late model division. Had some difficulties last night. Rarely do you see Derek Griffith in the infield before the checkered flag waves, and that indeed was the case last night. He thought he was going to have a car that could contend for the championship here this week, and it has been a tough go.
Steering wheel coming off last night.
Yeah, that's you hardly ever hear of that. Yeah.
The choose and 2 to go. Hartwig makes it pretty obvious which lane he wanted. He goes to the inside of Luke Baldwin at the front of the field. Baldwin coming off of a victory, looking to get his second one here. Catalano has 2. Baldwin has 1. When it comes to the wins this week for the 602 Modifieds, drivers deep in the pack choosing which way to go. A little bit of a cat and mouse game back there. Looking like the next driver was going to go to the inside, chose the outside. Now the field will stack up. Coming to 1 to go. Restart 1 lap from now. Baldwin is the leader in the 7 outside of row 1. You talked about it earlier. That 7 car Baldwin has started toward the front each and every race. The first 2 nights kind of faded back in the early laps, then rallied to come back up. And tonight and last night, or 2 nights ago, very strong.
Ended up in victory lane, and he had a huge throng of people down there with him. I think there were, had to have been a couple of dozen people in victory lane celebrating his first career victory as the lights are off on the pace car. We'll come back to the green flag. Luke Baldwin alongside Paul Hartwig Jr., Eric Lane, Trevor Catalano back in row number 2. Evan Rogalski back in P5.
This is the chance for Catalano in the money spot outside of row 2 to take advantage, get up into the second spot. And he does get alongside Hartwig entering turn 1, but look at the run for Hartwig.
Wow.
He'll take the lane away. This gives Eric Lane an opening bottom of the racetrack. Hartwig drove it in like 10 men in turn 1.
Wow, what a restart by Paul Hartwig in the 73. Take no prisoners on that number 73's restart right there. Now he's got a hornet's nest behind him as he's swerving, trying to guard both lanes down into turn 1. Paul Hartwig with the lead.
Baldwin going to move up into the second spot. Here comes Catalano for the 3rd position outside of Lane. Lane goes in hard, pulls forward, keeps the bottom pretty well. As these top 5, 6, 7, 8 cars heated battle with the front.
Paul Hartwig playing good defense. He's going to block the top. He's going to block that run by Luke Baldwin, but Baldwin with a lot of power, he's going to try to sneak to the inside. Now knocking on that back door, Paul Hartwig off at turn 4.
Plenty of contact there. This opens the outside lane for Trevor Catalano. Look out. Catalano on the move in the second groove. They go up the track, back in the field, sliding back a little bit in the outside lane. But look at Catalano. Continues in the 3rd spot. Boy, Hartwig doing all he can to keep these fast cars behind him. Here comes Baldwin.
You cannot possibly play defense for 50 laps, but I think Paul Hartwig was game to try. He has been trying to block everybody, and he is up the racetrack and in the outside wall off of turn 2.
Right front broken on the 73. He's going to hit down here. No, he's able to keep on going somehow, some way.
Oh.
Look out. Lane spins on the bottom. Hartwig definitely has some smoke coming out of it, a tire rub. The Nerf bar on the side there, on the right rear.
And I'm with you. I thought I saw that right front suspension very much broken on that 73 car. And you can see that tire is not at all pointed the way it needs to be. And in any case, that will be a tough break for Paul Hartwig. But, wow, that was some intense action.
Wow. Hartwig led for a number of laps, did all he could to keep them at bay, but it was so early in the race. There's no way that's going to work for 50-plus laps.
Oh, he looked like Brad Keselowski working the draft at Daytona or Talladega, blocking both lanes at the same time. Paul Hartwig, and I just kept thinking to myself, there's no way he can do this for 55 laps. And indeed, the unfortunate part of it is he couldn't, and he ended up in the outside wall there. But there's Hartwig in the 73 trying to work his way. He's got to come to pit road. There's no way that car can stay out with that broken right front.
Hartwig still shown as the leader. We'll look at the Flow Racing replay. So he's in the outside lane here. Baldwin takes him up the track and says, well, I'll take your lane away here, get you clear. The problem was then Hartwig, man, that right front took a huge hit, and it definitely changed location.
Absolutely.
Somehow he made turn 3 and didn't go up and hit the wall.
I was with you. I thought he was going to go take a ride, and then we get down to the other end of the racetrack, and the other Baldwin brother, Jack Baldwin, got into Eric Lane and sent him down onto the entrance to pit road there. It's just like everything breaking loose at once. Let's keep an eye on that white number 7 car as he gets into the 24 and almost through that opening right there, sending some photographers scattering down there, but no damage on the 24 car. Cannot quite say the same for Paul Hartwig Jr. You can see the concrete dust there inside the rims. And that right front is not pointed in the right direction.
Definitely bent wheel on the 73. Probably some more damage as well. Also hit on the right rear. Couldn't believe the car turned as well as it did when it got to 3. I thought for sure when he got to turn 3 it was going to be over. And there they're going to try to get some clearance so that right rear is not rubbing against the tire. And I think they may have done just that. Actually, they're going to cut part of the bar off so they can have clearance for sure.
I think they've got some designs of getting him back out.
They're going to try.
They got enough battery power in that grinder right there.
They've definitely made some clearance now. That should do it for him as Hartwig in the 73.
Have not touched the right front, I have noticed, though. So we'll see. We will see.
They looked at it when he first pulled in, kind of shook it. They felt like they could make it work. When they turned the wheel, you could see that the rim itself at least was bent, but maybe okay with it. 51 laps from the finish. Paul Hartwig Jr. was the leader, but now Baldwin takes over. Catalano is up to second, and I think that's the key here. There are only 2 winners this week. Baldwin in the 7, that's Luke, and then Catalano in the 54. Baldwin has won 1 feature. Catalano has won 2, plus a second-place run when Baldwin won. So the cream has risen to the top.
I want to see what Jack Baldwin can do here in the 7NY car. We talked about him missing a couple of nights after a practice crash and taking some time to get that car back together. He's been pretty quick here, and he has looked good, you know, despite the fact that he had a little contact there with Eric Lane down there to bring out that last caution. He's looked good, and, you know, he's going to be in that money spot coming to this restart.
My gosh, Lee Sharpstein.
Yeah. Started 30th.
He was at the back of the field, and all of a sudden, he finds himself in the 5th restarting position. Watch that 17 car. He's obviously made some wise decisions on his way to the front.
And we've only run, 15 laps, and he's picked up nearly 25 positions. Lee Sharpstein has done this multiple times this week. That is what is so impressive about it. He didn't just do it tonight. He did it the other night, and he did it the night before that, too.
Caution lights are out. Pace car will be pulling away from the field. The leader is Luke Baldwin now in the 7. Catalano, though, what a week. It's been for the 54. We'll start alongside. So we go green coming off of 4 the next time by. Those 2 drivers among the contenders for the point championship. Lewis, another one of those point contenders, the 65, had his issues off of turn 2. Eliminated from action. Coming to green. Can Catalano get around Baldwin, which will repeat again tonight? Or will Rogalski in the 27 restarting from 3rd? He have something to say about it. Trouble. Big trouble down in turn 1.
Stacking them up. Big time crash down into turn 1. Multiple cars involved. There's the 0-2.
Ryan Fisher.
There's Eric Lane again, who brought out the last caution flag. Oh, Pat Wall in the 5.
So early in the race, you knew this might be the case with this event tonight. Everybody wanting to be a little bit anxious, giving themselves a chance to win in this 66-lap event, but at the same time, be patient, make it to the finish. You will have a chance to win. Ryan Fisher. Maybe some suspension issues on the right front, but heading back to the pits is Fisher. Here's a look at the replay. Good start up front. Everything clean for the first 3-4 spots, even back a little further. And here's where they stack up.
It's like the 27 is going to give it a little bump there to
57 of Beecher.
The 57 of Beecher, and just blocks the racetrack. And you see everybody jumping on the brakes and turning it sideways. Ooh, one car leaping up off the ground right there.
Nice job by James Blewett. Watch the red, white, and blue 76 finding his way through with the car spinning in front of him.
And there's Beecher right there coming across traffic.
Watch this by Blewett. Handles this perfectly.
Ooh,
right
threading the needle right there. Nice job. The 35 car is the one who jumped off the racetrack just a touch.
Troy Bollinger.
He's had a tough week.
51 to go. Cautions leading to cautions here on these restarts. Sort out the field so they can choose again. Most competitors able to pull away from turns 1 and 2. One that didn't, Pat Wall.
Yeah, it looks like Pat Wall may be the only driver who was unable to pull away from that incident down there.
Timing and scoring hasn't been able to pick up a lap since our recent yellow. That's why Hartwig's still shown as the leader. They have not completed a lap since he had to go to the pits to work on his race car.
They're still working on it. They're finally working on that right front down there. You can see that to the right side of the screen there as we now take a look at the running order here as we come down the front stretch. Luke Baldwin in the 7 NC. There's Trevor Catalano in that beautiful number 54. Jack Baldwin settling into that 3rd position. Evan Rogalski. Bobby Jones in the number 1.
$51 to go. Caution-plagued first 15 laps of this race. Pat Wall's car has made its way to the pits there on the wrecker. Still sorting out a couple of cars, the officials toward the back of the field. Where's Sharfstein going to be on this one? He seems to move up every time a yellow flag takes place.
I was thinking, did he take the lead on that restart?
No kidding.
Because he absolutely has played leapfrog on some of these restarts.
There's the Wall team thinking they might be able to get back out if he gets this left front tire change. One of the Blewett-sponsored entries, Pat Wall. Coming to the 2 to go and choose at the line. The leader, Luke Baldwin, the black number 7, has chosen the outside. Will do so again. Catalano takes inside. Jack Baldwin outside lane. Rogalski inside. Jones outside back there in the 1 car.
Well, let's see how well the Baldwin brothers work together on this restart. Ooh. I've got to report that one of the number 27s to the tail as we send it downstairs to Jacqueline, who's got a report from pit road.
We had the 0-2 here of Ryan Fisher, who's out for this evening. What did you see happen there on the track?
I don't know, on that start there, we were coming down the front stretch there. Everything just kind of, I saw everybody kind of checking up, a lot of smoke. I thought I had it cleared. Got hit from behind, pushed up, outside car came in, took out my right front. Couldn't get it fixed. So, sad enough, we're out. It's real unfortunate. These guys work really hard. I just want to thank Jimmy Blewett, Rob Ormsby, Everett, the whole team, Tommy Baldwin. And I'm just real upset because I really wanted to just kind of sit back, see if I could buy some time, stay out of trouble, and then try to race there at the end. And unfortunately, that didn't work out tonight. So I'm going to watch the guys and root them on and see what they can get done tonight.
Pat Wall in the 5. As they will now start counting some caution laps to keep this race moving along. If we get another yellow flag, those caution laps will be counting.
I think we're going to go the next 51 green. Let's have some optimism here.
I like the optimism.
Right. So it looks like Adam LaCicero was the driver, the number 27, who was penalized for running over the the choose cone there a couple of laps back. Lights out on the pace car. Leader is Luke Baldwin. Trevor Catalano to his inside. Evan Rogalski. Jack Baldwin back in row 2. Lee Sharpstein in the 17 alongside Bobby Jones as we come back to green. 51 laps to go as Luke Baldwin jumps back to the lead down into 1.
Into turn 1 they go, and Catalano stays alongside Baldwin off of turn number 2. Baldwin pulling forward by a nose. Catalano gets a good run into 3. Baldwin a little bit of a high entry. We'll get a good run off of turn 4. Fighting for real estate a little bit in turn 4. Leader at the line. Luke Baldwin for lap number 16. Might be able to clear the Catalano car shortly. A little bit of contact between the two.
Some tire smoke there as those cars came together through the center of turn 2 there. But Trevor Catalano not giving up any ground to Luke Baldwin. Let's see if they work off of turn 4 cleanly. Indeed they do. And Luke Baldwin going to use that momentum of that top groove to jump back into the lead. And now Trevor Catalano going to slide in between Baldwin and Evan Rogalski.
On the move, the 17 of Lee Sharpstein restarted in 5th. Going for 4th now with Jack Baldwin in the outside lane. Clears him on the front stretch. Takes it all the way up. Gets in line with the 3 in front of him. We know the 27 for the youngster Rogalski has been fast this week. Has had some bad luck. I think choose violation the one night. Right now, running in the 3rd position. Look out. This is going to be a big one. And up into the wall hard. LaCicero bringing out the yellow. Got clipped in the right rear. Just didn't quite have enough room to squeeze by.
And you know, LaCicero was in that position coming from the back after getting penalized for that commitment violation on that restart. That was the 41 car, Michael Brennan, who got loose down the backstretch and collected LaCicero going into turn 3. LaCicero really just along for the ride there after contact was made, and you see the tire tracks that put him up into the outside wall, but that does put us under the caution flag one more time.
Caution laps reportedly now counting for the officials under the last yellow. Race leader, Luke Baldwin, as we take a look at the Flow Racing replay. Watch the car on the outside lane here, sideways. Big contact there with the 00 of Nelke. He was able to continue, and LaCicero just couldn't quite squeeze by.
And he tried to do a quick little snap spin there after he got together with the 41, just couldn't get it around quick enough, and he backed it into the outside wall. One more look at it here as the 41 got loose, bounced into the 00, and then bounced into the 27. Boom, right there. Hard contact with the outside wall.
Brennan had hard contact on the inside, too,
absolutely
in the 41.
Did. Yeah.
48 laps left as we watch the LaCicero machine getting the hook and towed off. I'm sure the back end of that car is not in great shape either. He took a hit on both ends of the race car. As we roll under yellow flag once again. So the 27 car of LaCicero crew working to hook it up. Get him removed from turn number 3. Good racing up front. Unfortunately, just some accidents have slowed the pace a number of times. We've completed 20 laps as these yellow flag laps make it 21 at the line. We'll be back with more of the 602 modified feature after this. .24 laps completed. of the 66 scheduled in this race. Luke Baldwin leads, Trevor Catalano, Evan Rogalski in third. Lee Sharpstein has moved up to fourth. He continues his move forward from the back of the pack, and we've only completed about 16 green flag laps.
Been one of those nights for the 602s. Well, let's see what happens here when we come to the choose. I have a feeling we'll see Luke Baldwin slide to the top side of the racetrack, as we have come to expect the leader to do in most instances, and that's what it looks like will happen. Trevor Catalano, Evan Rogalski coming to the bottom side of the racetrack. Lee Sharpstein to the top. This is how he does it right here. Lee Sharpstein, he weaves his way through on these choose situations. He has already picked up now 26 positions. Incredible.
35-year-old driver using some veteran prowess to make his way toward the front of the pack and doing a great job all the way from deep in the field as we got the one to go this time. Leader Luke Baldwin, Trevor Catalano last time starting on the inside. Catalano had to drop back in line. He couldn't make the run at Baldwin, maybe being a little more patient than maybe he will 20, 30 laps from now, but still 40 laps to go as they cross the stripe. Field much smaller than it was at the start of the race.
They have thinned the herd. Let's see if we can keep the herd the same size and run these next 40 laps quickly under green flag conditions. Leader is Luke Baldwin in the number 7 NC. He will control this restart as we come back to green. Trevor Catalano to the inside. Lee Sharpstein, Evan Rogalski back in row 2. Bobby Jones, Jack Baldwin in row 3. Little bumper tag as we come back to green off of turn 4.
Playing with fire down in turn number 4. They were all able to keep it in the right direction at lower speeds there. Rogalski in the third restarting position as Sharpstein fighting back to the outside, but up front, Catalano the edge going into turn number 3. Can he clear the 7 of Baldwin? Down into 4, they bump a little bit to the line. Who has it this time? It's Luke Baldwin.
By inches as they come across the stripe. Trevor Catalano to the bottom side of the racetrack with a good run off of turn 2. They're still wheel to wheel down the backstretch and into 3. Evan Rogalski, he has got Lee Sharpstein to his right elbow off of turn 4. Sharpstein will drop back into the 4th. Let's see if he wants to. I thought he was going to dive down to the inside right there, but he has decided to stay in the tire tracks of Evan Rogalski. But good side-by-side battle for the lead.
Bobby Jones having a nice run back there in 5th as well, following this pack, seeing who gets the advantage at the front. Baldwin holding a nice wheel up in the second groove, but Catalano making a good run of it. Then Catalano would be satisfied there for a second with maybe getting up and in line, but he continues to battle for the lead. In fact, has a great turn 1 and 2, taking the advantage to 3.
Evan Catalano inching the nose of that 54 car out front just ever so slightly. These two cars very evenly matched, and look at Luke Baldwin going to power it around and lead across the stripe by inches in the 7 car.
54 of Catalano getting a little bit wider through the turns, trying to get the advantage. It seems like middle of the backstretch, he's always ahead, while the 7 of Baldwin gets that great run through turn 4 each lap, and at the line this time, he has the lead again.
Looks like Luke Baldwin running that Matt Hirschman line through turns 3 and 4. Trevor Catalano trying to push him up the racetrack down in turns 1 and 2. As we come to the halfway point this time around, Trevor Catalano trying to take the lead free and clear off of turn 4. Give it to Trevor Catalano at the stripe.
There's a lot of work, and right on his rear bumper, the 7 car of Baldwin. 27 of Rogalski actually losing some ground. Those top 2 have been the class of this field all week long, and now we watch as the 2 try to pull away so they can battle it out among each other past the halfway mark now in the 66-lap race. Up front, Catalano first, Baldwin in second, back a few car lengths to Rogalski, Sharpstein, and Jones.
Luke Baldwin trying to close in on Trevor Catalano into 3 and 4. Rogalski maybe trying to get himself back into the mix here as well as they work their way down the front straightaway to complete yet another lap. Now 31 laps remaining. Luke Baldwin knocking on the back doors. We're going to get a caution flag for the 33 car here on the front stretch.
Winchell. Joe Winchell, the veteran, has spun, brings out the yellow flag. They waited until the last second to see if he would get rolling again. Joe Winchell stopped down there near Victory Lane area, driving the Gary Fountain car tonight. And now it fires up and gets rolling. So we have yellow with 35 laps down, 31 to go past the halfway mark. So just because Trevor Catalano took the lead doesn't mean he's going to run away with it and have an easy effort. Man, Baldwin stepped it up, was all over the rear.
Those two cars very evenly matched. We saw them trading position. They never really jumped out in front of one another, but they traded the lead back and forth by hundredths of a second each and every lap until finally Trevor was able to sneak out in front there, but he wasn't able to run away from him. We'll see if he's able to gap him a little bit here on this restart, but I have a feeling Luke Baldwin not going to want to give it up without a fight.
Be 38 down this time at the stripe. Getting down to a normal distance race for these competitors. Grandpa Blewett Memorial 66. That was the reason for the different lap number tonight, as Trevor Catalano leads. So the last restart, he was on the bottom lane and was, after a several lap battle at the front, able to clear Luke Baldwin. We'd think that Catalano will choose the outside this time.
One would think. Let's see what he does when we do come back to the choose here in a lap or two. There's a good look at the 17 of Lee Sharpstein, just behind that yellow and black number 27 of Evan Rogalski. Sharpstein's had a really solid week. He hasn't really ever started near the front of the field, but he's always ended up near the front of the field. Another good run going for him here tonight.
The 33 just received word he will be penalized 2 laps for drawing the yellow, coming to a stop on the front stretch. Still sorting out the rest of the field. See some cars double wide back there. I'll get them in the right positions and get them single file. Then they will be told to double it up at 2 to go. It's like Hartwig's 73 car getting ready to come back on the track. Look at that right front on that car. You can tell it's way too much camber after taking a hard hit in turn 2.
That is a shame. Paulie Hartwig had a really good fast race car here tonight and looked to turn his week around.
$27 to go. Tour type modified feature coming up next. 50 lap feature event. Catalano looking to go 3 for 4 for the week.
Almost as impressive as Matt Hirschman's been in the tour type modifieds. He's had a really solid couple of days down here. Again, counting the caution laps after a spate of early yellows in this race. So we will come back to 25 laps remaining this time around. Ralph Moore still waving the yellow. Ralph Miller, excuse me.
It's all right.
Still waving the yellow as he oversees the field. There's an Eric Goodale fan patiently waiting for the tour type mods to make their way back out onto the racetrack here shortly. Yeah, we've only been saying Ralph Miller for the last 7 days.
Right,
so
right.
Leave it to me to come up with the wrong name on the guy that we've been talking about all week long.
I'm sure you've come across a Ralph Moore at some point or another.
Maybe even today. Who knows? It's been a long day.
Your action heating up over at the big track this week as well.
Yeah, so how about that? You know, you talk about Hollywood stories, and Frankie Muniz, Malcolm in the middle, fastest in ARCA and Art Series practice today. How cool is that?
Interested to see how qualifying goes.
And you know, will be interesting to see how he does in the race. But he's got a really good race car. This is a team that has finished 2nd and 3rd at Daytona twice in the last 5 years. So it's not like this team doesn't build good race cars, the Rhett Jones racing team. So we'll see how Frankie does in qualifying tomorrow afternoon and then in the race on Saturday. But what a great story as Frankie begins his professional stock car career. What a great day for him and his wife. He's got his young son at the racetrack today as well. So Should be a lot of fun the rest of the weekend.
1 to go. The field is doubled up. Great field of cars at Daytona, too, for ARCA. The biggest field since, 17?
2017. We'll have 30. Now, we had one car with some mechanical issues, had to withdraw earlier today, so we'll be down to 39. But still the biggest entry we have had there since 2017. And you can watch that race coming up Saturday afternoon live on FS1. Of course, 10 of the ARCA Menard Series National Tour races will be streamed live here on Flow throughout the course of 2023, in addition to all the East and West races. As we come back to green, Luke Baldwin, Trevor Catalano on the hammer out of turn 4.
Catalano does choose the outside lane. Baldwin bumps a little bit as they rub down into the first corner. Baldwin kind of keeps it against the bottom. A little bit of contact back behind him. They continue on. That's Brian Rogalski in the 72. He and Jones going at it. Baldwin the advantage, but here comes Catalano fighting back in the outside lane. Baldwin will clear him. Now Catalano will try the inside, peaking low, going into 1.
A little slip and slide, dip and dive as Trevor Catalano goes from top to bottom as we've got sideways, big-time problems over in turn 2. Oh, look at Paulie Hartwig up there. All that work to get that car back on the racetrack, and he's in the outside wall again.
You can see the tire mark where he's climbed it. Blewett in the 76 is there.
Brian Rogalski in the 72. There's the 57. We saw him have problems earlier. That's Justin Beecher in that 57 car. I believe that's the 37, the white car, up along the outside wall as well. Wow, just a tough break for a couple of these guys, and I'm just cannot believe the bad luck for Paul Hartwig there in the 73.
There's nowhere to go, and then climbed up the wall all the way to the top. You see the tire mark making its way up toward the fence, so they'll have to hook up a couple of these cars. It all started with Rogalski in the 72 getting turned. Saw him on the backstretch. Here's a look at the Flow Racing replay. Watch the brightly painted 72 on the inside of Jones. Got sideways inside of Jones, spinning around. Beecher then makes contact with Baldwin, and then everybody else nowhere to go, piling in.
And look at the 73 of Paulie Hartwig there, just nowhere to go. Again, I think he really knocked the right front off as we take a look at the replay one more time. Stacking them up.
It's been a rough one for the 602 Modifieds tonight. 47 laps completed, 19 to go. We'll be back with a finish after this on Flow Racing. There's the field of cars stopped down in turns 1 and 2 with 48 laps in, 18 laps to go. Cleanup continues in turn number 2. They had 2 or 3 cars left that they needed to hook up and pull away, so the field went red. As we want to get as many green flag laps in here at the end as we can. The top 2, they've had a good battle up front. They've been pretty exciting. Jacqueline Drake, one of the members of our Flow Racing crew down in the pits, has a word with one of our drivers involved in the crash. Jacqueline?
Many competitors out this evening, and one right beside me, the 57 of Justin Beecher. What happened to your car to end your night early?
Bent caster rod, and the lower is bent as well. 72 just went spinning. I don't know what happened, and got absolutely pile drove from behind and put into the fence. Is what it is. It's another day. Just a good experience to be down here in New Smyrna, and we'll be back next year.
Early in for the 57, as well as many others in that incident.
Yeah, that one just an unfortunate break where the 72 of Rogalski got sideways on the inside of Jones and just happened to be the place where he spun in turn 2 where the track narrows down off the corner, and that close after a restart, just nowhere to go. Final couple of cars to get on the hook to go back to the pits, and then we'll get the field rolling once again. Luke Baldwin leads the way. Actually, Catalano and Baldwin, they were side by side. I think Baldwin's still officially the leader. Catalano second, Rogalski third, Sharpstein in fourth. 48 laps complete on Flow Racing. So still under red. Final car, I believe, is being hooked up right now over in turn 2. Coverage here on Flow Racing. There's the 73 of Hartwig going back to the infield. He had to finish off that right front.
Oh, my goodness.
It was barely hanging on.
Right. There was some doubt there whether or not that right front had been damaged previously to that, and he removed all doubt after that one. What a tough night for Paul Hartwig. I hope he can smile. You know, sometimes it's all you can do is smile when you have such a rough night. Hey, we had a chance to meet his young son here right before we went green. Of course, Paulie Hartwig, I believe the third, the 12-year-old driver who won a big modified race up at North Wilkesboro last fall. That young man up on the roof spotting for another one of the competitors here tonight. But big future behind the wheel of one of these 602 mods for Paulie Hartwig the third coming up here whenever Dad lets him climb back aboard one of these monsters.
Tour Type Modified 50-lap feature coming up in, well, hopefully just a little bit, Charlie. They've been waiting impatiently, I'm sure, in the pits. Jacqueline standing by with one of the starters in the field.
Yeah, right behind me is all the Tour Modifieds ready to hit the track as they're awaiting, hopefully, a feature without as many cautions as this one. Craig Lutz, one of the competitors here. Coming up, you've had a tough week, struggling, losing fuel pressure yesterday. Has your team rallied back and able to get your car fixed up?
Yeah, we're trying. We spent all morning replacing the motor, and we just made it out here for qualifying. So that was the first laps on the track today. So, didn't qualify too well. So hopefully we can get some cautions and be able to get reset and move our way up tonight in tonight's feature.
The World Series is quite a marathon with 9 straight nights of racing action. Have you felt the wear and tear on that?
Yeah, I mean, any time later in the week is long, especially with the tour race on Saturday. Seems like it adds so much, so much more stress, work, and everything else. So, try to finish the week out strong and see if we can get our program turned around here.
Hats off to the Craig Lutz team and all the hard work behind the scenes that these teams are doing to get them back out on the track.
So Craig Lutz, he's ready to go after an engine change in his Tour Type Modified. Watch for him in the 82 car coming up here in just a little bit. Still in this race, 48 down, 18 to go in the 66-lap feature. Luke Baldwin is the leader. Catalano is second as per the last completed lap. Rogalski, Sharpstein, and Jones rounding out the top 5. Was right behind Jones where the accident occurred, and that shuffles the rest of the field. I think if you finish this race, you're going to get a top 10 tonight, Charlie.
Sometimes all you got to do is run them all, and you're going to have a good night. Tonight is one of those nights. Luke Baldwin, Trevor Catalano, Evan Rogalski, Lee Sharpstein, Bobby Jones, they've stayed up in front of the fray all night long. There's a pretty cool-looking hoodie right there. I've seen a lot of good-looking T-shirts and hoodies, and that's the World Series of Racing up at Thompson Speedway up in Thompson, Connecticut, another racetrack known for the fire-breathing ground pounders up there, and one of those racetracks that's on my bucket list. Never been able to take a tour of Thompson and kind of its sister track up in the Northeast, Stafford Speedway up there in Connecticut. I did have a chance to chat with Jack Arute earlier today, guy that I grew up listening to. Really enjoyed talking to Jackie Arute. Of course, used to call races with Bob Jenkins and Ned Jarrett on ESPN, and later did some IndyCar racing with Paul Page and Bobby Unser. That family, a longtime supporter of modified racing up in Connecticut.
1 to go this time. The 602 Modified feature moments away from getting a restart, and the battle up front will then heat up again. Luke Baldwin is the leader of the race outside of row number 1. Trevor Catalano inside of row number 1. They've been all the winners this week in the 3 races. Catalano with 2, Baldwin with 1. And barring any major issues, it looks like one of those 2 very possibly going to win here tonight. But which one wins is yet to be determined. Very equal.
Absolutely.
When it comes to their speeds that they're turning here.
Those cars very evenly matched as we start to pick up the pace in turns 3 and 4. Luke Baldwin on the hammer. Trevor Catalano turns it left to try to match that speed off of turn 4. Baldwin with the jump as Catalano pulls even down into 1. He's going to knock fenders or knock wheels with Baldwin and move him up the racetrack, and now Catalano with the advantage into 3.
Catalano pulls forward. Here comes Lee Sharpstein into the mix as well. Catalano starts to close the door, then gives some room. Good run off of turn number 4 for Baldwin, and now second and third, Sharpstein. And a throw in a block going into the corner, makes some contact. Good save by those two drivers. Sharpstein does clear now. Checking up was Baldwin to avoid contact. Now makes a little with the 17 of Sharpstein.
Are we premature in thinking that Lee Sharpstein might not have a car that could go to victory lane here tonight? Wow, that 17 car looking really stout on that restart. And as soon as I say that, he's going to feel some heat from Luke Baldwin now to the inside. But Sharpstein with an impressive performance in the number 17.
Sharpstein just missed turn 1 and 2 a little bit last time. Went up a little bit too high and allowed the bottom lane to open up for Baldwin, who tries to take the spot back. Also notice maybe a little bit of smoke coming out of the 54 of Catalano. Hopefully for Catalano, nothing major there coming from the 54. But 14 to go at the line. 52 complete for Trevor Catalano.
Now Luke Baldwin following in the tire tracks of our leader. They have gapped Lee Sharpstein by about 5 car lengths as they work their way off at turn 2 and down the backstretch. And now Baldwin starting to reel in Trevor Catalano off at turn 4. 13 laps remaining this time around as the field works single file down the front stretch. There's Baldwin knocking on the back door through turns 1 and 2.
Got a pretty good run off of turn 2, slightly better than Catalano's. He's closed the gap down to virtually nothing. On the rear bumper of Trevor Catalano is Luke Baldwin. Sharpstein hanging on to third. Rogalski running in fourth. Bobby Jones completing the top 5. One little mistake is all it's going to take, Charlie, for that 7 car to be up there beside him again.
And he tried to force a mistake right there in turn 1. You saw Baldwin shoving Trevor Catalano all the way down into the corner. He's not going to even bother with it this time. He's going to dive down to the inside. They knock wheels through turns 1 and 2. Baldwin trying to drive Catalano up the racetrack, but here comes Lee Sharpstein in the 17.
Sharpstein joins the top 2 battle. Baldwin pushing forward, can't quite clear him yet. Catalano fights back in the outside. Baldwin at the line by inches. They hit again going into 1. It's heating up at the front of the field. Sharpstein looks for an opening. He finds one to the inside of Catalano for second. Rogalski watching, looking for an opening as well.
Good 4-car battle, making a 5-car battle for the lead as Bobby joins the fray as well. Catalano trying to find a way back around our leader, Luke Baldwin. Sharpstein in the mix. Rogalski in the mix. Closing in on the finish. Under 10 laps to go. 8 to go this time around.
Not over yet, says Catalano. 8 to go. And after falling to second, now he follows closely in the tire tracks of Luke Baldwin. Each of them wanting to end their World Series with a victory. They've both been in victory lane. Catalano would love to go 3 for 4, but Baldwin has something to say about it. In fact, keeping about a half car length between the two, that's a key. Doesn't want to give that opportunity for Catalano to make some contact for maybe a late race bump and run.
We're getting to that point of the race where if you do move somebody, you're going to have to hope that you move them far enough that they can't get back to you. And I think we're going to have to maybe wait to the final couple of laps to make that move. I think Trevor Catalano just waiting for the final 2 laps, maybe even the final lap before he makes a move on Luke Baldwin. The 54 car looking equally stout as we come to 5 laps remaining this time around. 5 laps to go here in our 66 lap Grandpa Blewett Memorial 66 lap feature for the 602 Modifieds.
Less than 5 to go now, and Catalano has closed that gap. Searching for a lane. His car seems to be strong now, maybe stronger than the 7 of Baldwin in the waning stages. Some contact in 3 and 4. 4 laps to go at the line. Baldwin hanging on.
Yeah, Trevor Catalano wanting to remind Luke Baldwin, hey, man, I am right here. I haven't gone anywhere. I've got a fast race car, and I can come by if you leave that door open. And look at Lee Sharpstein. He's hoping these two get racy and move each other up the racetrack. Lee Sharpstein in a position to take advantage should something happen between our 2 leaders. 3 to go this time around.
Top 2. Battling it out down the stretch. Sharpstein not quite out of contention yet. If A little bit of contact happens up front. He might be just in position to pounce and make it a 3-car battle. 2 to go for Luke Baldwin.
Luke Baldwin looking for his second consecutive 602 feature event win. Trevor Catalano looking to go to victory lane for the 3rd time here this week. He picked up the win in the opening feature of the week for this division by 1/1000th of a second. Looking for yet another win. White flag up, one final time around. Catalano to the bottom side of the racetrack.
Side by side off at 2, and here comes Sharpstein. 3-car battle down the backstretch into turn 3. Baldwin the advantage as the battle for second continues.
Sharpstein's going to give him a shot. They're going to get together through the center of 3 and 4. Luke Baldwin going to go to victory lane.
Wow, what a last couple of laps. You could see it start to develop when Catalano closed the gap on Baldwin. Made a last-ditched effort. When he did, though, it allowed Sharpstein to get in there. And from the back of the pack, Sharpstein takes the 2nd position tonight in the 602 modified. Grandpa Blewett Memorial 66. That one coming to an end, and would have been great to see some long green flag runs earlier in the race because these competitors right here put on a good show.
It took us a while to get there, but what an exciting finish. And I want to give a shout out to Lee Sharpstein. What an impressive drive for that 35-year-old driver in the number 17 car. But you cannot take anything away from the 14-year-old young man who has just parked it down in victory lane, celebrating his 2nd consecutive victory here at New Smyrna Speedway. Luke Baldwin picking up a thrilling win in the Grandpa Blewett Memorial.
Celebration will take place for Luke Baldwin and the Baldwin Racing Team. So busy this week with multiple cars in the 602s and the Tour Type Modifieds. That Tour Type Modified 50-lapper is coming up next as we send it down to Victory Lane and Jacqueline Drake.
Luke Baldwin's going to exit out of that 7NC after receiving congratulations.
Ladies and gentlemen, here he comes.
Luke, congratulations. Wow, what a performance there, Luke, and what a feature event that was. So many restarts happened in the 6.0 modified feature. How did you save your equipment to be able to capitalize at the end?
Man, I just had to keep pushing, you know. We kept swapping the lead back and forth, racing. We're racing friendly, racing hard. It was a blast. I mean, I had to give it all I had at the end. Car was kind of falling out, but still fast.
The World Series has come to an end for the 602 Modifieds. How was your experience?
Man, it was a blast. I mean, my first time in a modified, coming down here, winning 2 races in a championship, racing with these guys, all these guys having so much fun up front. It was awesome. I had a place like this where my grandpa, like I said the other day, won so many races. My dad's been coming here for so long. It's awesome.
Luke Baldwin, your winner this evening in the Jimmy Blewett Memorial.
Claiming the victory as well as the championship, the number 7 of Luke Baldwin. Well-deserved. Great week he had in the 7NC.
Absolutely, and I see a lot of his dad in that young man. A lot of great qualities and a big future on tap. This first time he's ever been in a modified was this week, and he's already picked up a pair of victories. What a great week for the Baldwin family as he gets hugs from one of his competitors down there as we...
Lee Sharpstein,
yep.
2nd place. Came from the back, Charlie.
Wow.
Deep in the pack, and he stands by with Jacqueline.
That's 17, J. Lee Sharpstein, coming in 2nd place this evening. And you were able to capitalize on that final lap to make it into the 2nd place position. What was your strategy going into it?
Yeah, first and foremost, I'd like to thank all the sponsors, the racetrack, eBay Motors, Schultz, and all them. Sponsors back home, Sam's Bar and Grill, Mid-State Basement, approval for sure. But that lap was pretty wild. I knew if I positioned myself into 3rd, that they wanted to duke it out. And I wanted to be right there to duke it out with them, you know. And I saw the bottom open up, and when I had 3 wide, my plan wasn't to lift going into 3, and that's exactly what we did. He just cleared me getting into 3, or he was going up the track too, and we would be right where he is. But he did a good job. He's a young kid, and congrats to those guys. They work hard, and same with Trevor and the Catalanos.
Patience paid off for Luke Sharpstein, 2nd place finisher.
No doubt it did, and used wise decisions in choosing his lane on the way to the front of the field to pick up a runner-up finish here tonight. Third place finisher, what a week, nothing to hang his head about, was Trevor Catalano in the 54 car. Outstanding effort from the start of this week with 2 wins, then a second, tonight a third on the podium each and every night, Jacqueline.
Trevor Catalano, congratulations to you on this third place finisher. How was those final laps for you?
Yeah, that was intense. Lukey's raced me clean the whole time, so I didn't want to clean him out, didn't want to run him up, just wanted to figure that last lap. I had one more shot at it, tried to drive it in there and get under him. We got there, but we just couldn't make a stick off the corner. We were a little too tight all day, so we'll come back next year and hopefully try again.
Catalano versus Baldwin. You would think that we've gone back in time. He takes home third place.
Impressive run there for the driver of the 54. 2 races yet to go. One of them is the 50-lapper for the Tour Type Modifieds. That's next on Flow. There are the Tour Type Modifieds lining up for a 50-lap feature event. Our most recent one, didn't it go flag to flag?
It did. It did.
Not to throw the jinx or anything.
Wouldn't be the first time it happened, but let's hope we at least get some green flag runs strung together in this race.
Well, the Tour Type Modifieds running 50 laps tonight. They want to take care of their equipment. They don't want to be up all night long getting their cars back together for tomorrow night's Richie Evans Memorial 100. That's the big one to end the week in Tour Type Modified action. This week has been all about, at least starting Monday, multi-time champion and one of the favorites over the last 4 or 5 years, Matt Hirschman in the 60.
Hirschman has been impressive. He is methodically, as is to be expected, has methodically worked his way through traffic each of the last 3 nights, worked his way up to the front of the field, and using that very unique line, particularly over in 3 and 4, has just driven away from the field. He has opened up, rather big advantages, just seemingly at will, and it'll be very interesting to see if he chooses to do that very early in the going here. Of course, he's going to have some really strong race cars. He's going to have Ronnie Williams there with him in the 50, or I believe that's Anthony Bello there in the 192. Nacella in the 92 also up there. So some really good race cars up near the front of this one.
Jacqueline, we're getting ready for a big 50-lap feature for the Tour Type Modifieds.
Yeah, guys, speaking of multi-time champions, this one right behind me, the number 17 of Burt Myers. This is only his 3rd year coming out to the World Series of Asphalt. I sat down with him a little bit earlier today, and he said, I have actually never podiumed here at New Smyrna Speedway. I just don't have as many laps as these guys do. He says he's been chasing that 60, trying to figure out and rub elbows to see what setup he needs on that 17. They feel a little bit confident, though, for tonight in this 50-lapper. And if you've never heard of Burt Myers, multi-time champion, Wheeling, ASA, Southern Modified Racing Series, and the Bowman Gray champ.
Burt Myers having a decent week in the 17. He's been up there challenging in the top 5, finished 6th the other night, actually 5th in his most recent start last night.
Looked pretty racy last night, too.
Taking a look at the starting lineup, Matt Hirschman gets the luck of the draw tonight. He qualified 3rd, and the pill was a 3 that Anthony Bello, the top qualifier, drew. Ronnie Williams starts 2nd. He's been fast this week in the 50 car. Ronnie Williams, the Connecticut driver, a 5th and a 3rd in his last 2 races, having a solid week here at the World Series. Anthony Bello was the top qualifier, starting from the 3rd position in the 179, and Tyler Ripkema last night was top qualifier. He fell deep into the pack. We'll see if he's got his car back together and running well tonight.
He was a hard charger early in the going in last night's 76 lapper, but dropped back rather quickly in the second half of that one. J.R. Bertuccio with a great qualifying run tonight. He will roll off 5th alongside Patrick Emmerling, who has finished in the 2nd position all 3 nights this week. We'll see if he can keep that streak going. Eric Goodale will start from the 7th spot alongside Jimmy Blewett in the 76.
Position number 9 is taken by the 25 of Brian Roby. Starting 10th, Teddy Hodgden in the 55 CT. Burt Myers, we talked about before the race, the 17. Starting 11th and starting 12th is Tom Martino Jr. in the 9.
Anthony Nacella in the 92 will start alongside Dylan Stewart in the 11X. We saw Dylan have a hard crash earlier in the week. Good to have him back on track. Joey Coulter, who finished 3rd, back on Monday night. Good to see him running well. He's got that number 02 car in the 15th position to start here tonight. And he will start alongside Caleb Hetty in the number 7 NC.
Starting 17th is the 82 of Craig Lutz. Engine change for Lutz. Miller Place, New York driver trying to come through the field here tonight, starting around mid-pack. Brett Meservey in the 45 will start in the 18th position. Andrew Krause in the 24 starts 19th. And Justin Brown in the 46 starts outside of row number 10.
Eddie McCarthy in the 20 will go from the 21st position alongside Spencer Davis in the 29. Amy Catalano will start from the 23rd spot with Tyler Catalano alongside in the 54C.
On to our next row. It's Michael Rutkowski in the 71 starting inside lane. The outside Norman Newman in the 11. The 08 of Nicholas Halkowitz starts 27th, starting 28th Rich Parker. Rounding out the field is Christopher Hatton in the 09 and David Sapienza in the 36 cars. We took a look at the points there on the screen as we were giving the starting lineup. It's the 60 of Hirschman, by far the one to beat, but hey, the 14 car, Patrick Emmerling, 2 runner-up finishes. Got a little work cut out for him tonight. He starts 6th. He's going to have to really work through and get up there to challenge Matt Hirschman.
I had a chance to chat with Patrick earlier in the week, and we kind of chuckled with him a little bit about those 2 late race restarts yesterday, and he said, yeah, man, it was my only shot. And I got to be honest, I haven't been too happy with the way the 60's been racing me this week, so I thought, why not repay the favor? And he went down into turn 1 and shoved him up the racetrack, and he thought he had it made. And then that caution flag came out. And then he said, I knew on that restart it was my only shot to do it again. And he anticipated my move right there, and he went right by me. But Patrick had a big smile on his face. He knows he's had a pretty good week. It just he's going up against one of the best in the business right now, and that 60 car has been hooked up.
Pretty much a 2-man race when it comes to the standings, which we saw earlier. Matt Hirschman, a 6-point lead on Patrick Emmerling, 200 to 194. And then Goodale finds himself 26 points back of Matt Hirschman. So 6 points is a difference of 3 positions. But Emmerling would actually have to finish 4 positions ahead, I believe, for the championship. Emmerling would to break the tie.
Yep.
3 wins and 3 starts in tour type modified action. That's not counting the series on Saturday night, which Ron Silk claimed to win. And, of course, Silk was so good early this week, and then the engine let go, and he called it a week and was done for the World Series.
That is a tough break because Ronnie Silk is a top-notch competitor here in this division. It would have been great to see him out here contending for wins throughout the week. He had just a thrilling battle with a handful of drivers late in the race on Saturday night and ended up parking it down in victory lane. So I think he definitely would have given Big Money Matt a run for his money throughout the course of the week here.
Emmerling said last night after the race, he said, we've made up some ground. My car's pretty competitive now with the 60. Need just a little bit more. But again, he starts 6th tonight, and he's got some fast ones between himself and Hirschman at the front of the field. Ronnie Williams will be starting on the outside of row number 1. He's had a couple of top 5 finishes. Just coming into this year, it only made 15 World Series starts, but he has become one of the front runners in the class. 50 laps tonight, 100 tomorrow night for the Tour Type Modifieds. And, of course, that will finish off their points run tomorrow evening. So Hirschman would like to add to it by claiming the win, and odds-on favorite here after what we've seen this week.
Going to be interesting to see how Tyler Ripkema does tonight in the 32 car. You see him lined up in 4th, the black car with the yellow numbers. He really was impressively fast yesterday in the early going, then faded rather dramatically late in the race. I don't know if that was due to the setup going away on the race car, whether the tires went away on the race car, or what the situation was, but we've seen him up near the front much of the week. He's got a pretty good solid qualifying run here tonight. Didn't make the invert. Of course, Anthony Bello in the 192 directly in front was the fast qualifier tonight, and he drew a 3. Low inverts all week long in just about every division. I don't think we've seen an invert higher than 6 all week long, but the invert tonight definitely working in Matt Hirschman's favor. And, he just needs to catch a break. He's had such horrible luck all week long. Matt Hirschman ended up on the pole. Look at this youngster joining us here tonight. I love seeing the ear protection. That is a good call, Mom, on a beautiful night for racing here at New Smyrna.
50 laps we will race tonight. Good crowd here at New Smyrna Speedway once again for this 7th night of the week. Tomorrow night special, the Richie Evans Memorial 100. Then Saturday, the Orange Blossom 100 for the super late models. Plenty of divisions on the card. We'll see some new divisions this weekend as well. The vintage cars come in. The Bomber Bs will race. The Super Stocks will race. The Pro Trucks the next couple of nights. Some classes we haven't seen on track. Giving a couple of extra laps before we get started here. Get some heat in the tires. Front row of Hirschman and Williams. Second row of Bello and Ripkema. And they'll double up this time. 2 until the green for Matt Hirschman. Hirschman looking for his 7th win in a row dating back to last year's World Series.
And, of course, we're not counting the Tour race because that wasn't a World Series race. That was a Tour Series race. So he won the last 3 last year. He won the opening 3 this year. So a victory tonight would break that record. Interesting.
Hirschman also seeking to win his 4th straight this year, which no mod driver has done to start a series since Richie Evans in 1981. One to go. Next time to the green. Hirschman in the 60. The 50 of Williams.
I didn't want to say Ralph Moore with the 1 to go because I
Right.
don't want Ralph Miller to wrap me with that green flag when we see him later on tonight. But indeed, Ralph Miller with the 1 to go signal here at start finish.
It's been more of Ralph Miller tonight. He's been busy waving that yellow flag so far.
Confusing me, Adam, as we get ready to go green. Ronnie Williams to the outside of Big Money Matt Hirschman as the field picking up the pace over in 3 and 4.
Underway, Hirschman the advantage on the start. Williams will fight back in the outside lane. How will they go through 1 and 2? It is the 50 car of Williams having a solid 1 and 2, but not quite enough to stay alongside the 60 of Hirschman. Clears him, heading to 3.
Tyler Ripkema with a good start to the top side. He's got the nose out in front of our quick qualifier, Anthony Bello. And look at who's back there in the 14, Patrick Emmerling. Trying to move around Bello to take over 4th as we saw some sparks. I believe that was Blewett who bounced off the fence coming off of 4.
Emmerling's car looks strong here in the first 2 laps as the 14 goes to the outside, moving around top qualifier Bello, and now will start to challenge Ripkema for 3rd. Remember, Emmerling started 6th. He's already up to 4th.
I was chatting with Brent Wentz, noted spotter and a follower of the Tour-type modifieds last night, and he said, everybody has studied Matt Hirschman's line here throughout the last couple of years. No one has been able to replicate it. The great thing about that line, it's easier on the tires, and it's way faster. It's got the double benefit of being easy on tires and faster. Hirschman already using that line through turns 3 and 4. He's got a comfortable advantage over Williams and Ripkema as we see a lot of cars scrambling here deep in the pack.
Martino in the 9 there. The 17 of Myers right behind Roby. There's Nocella and the 92. Coulter in the 0-2. Joey Coulter in the 0-2 hasn't been able to replicate his third place finish from earlier this week. He's not had the qualifying effort to keep him toward the front. And he's had to dig himself out of the hole. And right now, Joey Coulter in the 0-2 runs 14th.
Joey's be the first to tell you he's trying to acclimate himself to tour-type mod racing. Of course, he spent a lot of time driving in the ARCA Menard Series, the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. Those bigger, heavier vehicles are a much different type of race car to drive, and he's trying to get the hang of it. And he's got the hang of it, but he's got himself a brand new race car. He and Harold Holly are trying to get this car up to speed. Looked good the other night, but been a struggle most of the week here as we see Eric Goodale looking to the inside of Showtime down in turns 1 and 2.
Making a run at Blewett right behind him. Burt Myers has just picked up a position. Myers has been able to move around the 25 of Roby, move Burt Myers up into the top 10 as they single back out now early on, clean and green. 8 laps completed in this 50-lap feature. Still have the super late models coming our way. David Rogers Super Late Model Division, a 35-lap feature event. We've had good action in that one. Casey Roderick setting fast time tonight as we watch Blewett in the 76 trying to hold off Eric Goodale. That is for the 7th position.
And if you look at the cars following Blewett here, and it is almost like a freight train that you'd see at Daytona or Talladega. These cars are stretched nose to tail all the way around each end of the racetrack. Good competitive field of cars here.
Rich Parker moving over for the lead lap cars. Also saw a Hatton machine coming to the pits just the last time by as we get the first 10 laps completed. Mostly single file around the track, and Hirschman slowly but surely starting to pull away from Ronnie Williams. The lead is over half a second.
There's J.R. Bertuccio in the number 2 car. He's had a great run here tonight. Good qualifying effort, still running up in the 6th position as this battle for 7th continuing on behind him.
Nose to tail single file around the racetrack, and there's the Martino number 9 making a move on the inside lane. Martino and Roby are going for 9th. There's Hodgson, the 55, following Goodale. Goodale, there's the run. Man, that car really cut nicely. Bottom of the racetrack in 4. And Eric Goodale about to take the spot from Blewett. Down through 1 and 2. Eric Goodale taking 7th away. Here comes Hodgson having a good run in the 55.
These drivers racing each other with a lot of respect. These made a lot of laps racing nose to tail and side by side with each other over the years. They know what to expect from one another, and as soon as Blewett saw Goodale to the inside, he didn't give him a whole lot of room, but he gave him enough room, and Goodale making the pass. He's going to take over the 7th position, and there we see Burt Myers to the outside of Teddy Hodgson. Myers making the top side work for that black number 17.
An opportunity there, a rare outside lane pass in a situation like that. Martino was way up the banking, was able to steer it back down to the bottom groove. Hodgson looks really good right now in the 55, despite giving up a spot to Myers moments ago.
So Eric Goodale, Jimmy Blewett, Burt Myers, and Teddy Hodgson, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th on the racetrack. Laps ticking off. 16 laps already in the books. 34 yet to go. We jump back up towards the front of the field. There's Bello trying to track down Patrick Emmerling. Tyler Ripkema there sitting in the 4th position in the 32 car. So this is the battle for 4th, 5th, and 6th. And then directly behind them on the lower right, the battle for 7th, 8th, and 9th on back.
Nose to tail, here's the top qualifier, Bello, looking to the inside upper left of the screen, racing with Emmerling. Emmerling has 4th. Bello started this race in 3rd, has fallen to 5th, would like to start his rally back to get to the front as our leader, Matt Hirschman, has built up about a 7/10 of a second lead on 2nd place Ronnie Williams. It's up over 8/10 now at the line. Ripkema definitely having a better run tonight, Charlie, than he did a night ago after setting fast time on Wednesday night. He fell way back in the field, finished like 15th. Tonight, much better car, challenging Williams for 3rd.
They've opened up a couple of car length gap there over Patrick Emmerling in the 14. Ripkema looking really stout, as is Ronnie Williams, as we see some smoke puffing out of the header pipes of the 7NC, Caleb Hetty, with some engine issues, and he's going to come to a stop over at the top of turn 2, and that will put us under the caution flag. Look at all that fluid coming out of the header pipes. That is a tough break for Caleb Hetty, but that does put us under the caution for the first time tonight, as Hetty going to make his way out of that car. He does not want to feel the heat from whatever's going on with that engine.
One of the Baldwin cars with issues. Caleb Hetty, the team car to Blewett, and driver from Louisville, Kentucky, young competitor, has a little bit of fluid coming out the exhaust. Internal engine issues for Caleb Hetty. Good green flag run to get us started. 30 laps to go, 20 completed. The Hetty number 7 this week for the 18-year-old. Last 2 runs of 10th and 11th. And he is done tonight and possibly for the week. That's some major issues on the 7.
You'd never like to see that fluid coming out of the exhaust pipes when you come to a stop, and there was a lot of fluid gushing out of those header pipes. So whatever happened to that engine is a big-time failure and a tough break for Tommy Baldwin Racing and Caleb Hetty.
Good news is it didn't really leak all the way across the track and kind of stopped after it put out just a little bit of fluid up out of the racing groove. They will push it off because he didn't hit anything.
Yeah, no need to tow it when you can just push it.
Here's a look at the replay. Watch him come by the front straightaway. He was running in 15th.
Oh.
And there it is. Major smoke coming out of the exhaust.
All of a sudden just erupted out of the header pipes.
30 to go. Good green flag run. Good clean racing in our field of tour type modifieds. And a mechanical failure on the number 7. The engine seems to have expired for Caleb Hetty. They get this car off the track. It's a little bit of a slow pace. He's going to go down to the bottom. There's the leader, Matt Hirschman, over Ronnie Williams. Tyler Ripkema in 3rd. Patrick Emmerling 4th. Anthony Bello rounding out the top 5.
J.R. Bertuccio sitting in the 6th position. Eric Goodale, Jimmy Blewett, Burt Myers, and Teddy Hodgson rounding out the top 10. As we will have 30 laps to go once we go back green flag racing. A lot of good clean racing in this tour type modified division throughout the course of the week. Green to checkered here last night. Of course, we went green to checkered in our pro late model race earlier tonight. Had a couple of super late model shows earlier in the week. Go green to checkered as well.
Cleanup continues over in turn number 2. We'll be back on Flow Racing tomorrow night, 7:30. Saturday night, 7:30 as well for the final 2 nights of World Series action for 2023. Matt Hirschman is the leader. He'll choose inside or outside. My guess would be inside, or outside rather. We've seen some drivers choose the inside, but more times than not, outside, again, has worked out better. And we've seen more drivers take that outside lane. Not yet doubling up. Still cleaning up turn 2. Now they're pulling away the track crew.
It's putting some speedy dry down over that fluid that came out of the 7NC engine compartment.
This place will be packed tomorrow night. Good weather forecast.
Yeah, beautiful.
For the Richie Evans Memorial 100. It was typically the biggest night of the week because of that show. The NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour race is now up there and rivals it, as we ran out of parking last Saturday, at least in the main parking lot. They had additional parking spots across the street that race fans were able to use.
You know, when I was a kid, we always had the chance of rain was mentioned in increments of 5%.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've got a 2% chance of rain. When did we go to the 2% model of rain chances?
Well, it was a 1%.
Yeah, that throws me off.
It was a 1%, what, last Sunday coming to the racetrack in the morning, and it was a light rainfall at the time.
Yeah,
cleared up nicely for Sunday's action.
Day. Yep.
2 to go, and choose haven't talked much about J.R. Bertuccio this week. He's had a little bit of a struggle, but currently shown in 6th position after a good qualifying effort. When you look back through the numbers over the years, Bertuccio has been racing here at the World Series for a long, long time. No Tormod driver has ever swept a series. Richie Evans and Reggie Ruggiero each have 7 wins in an 8 or 9 race series, so they came close. 1 to go signal being shown.
How about those two names, Reggie Ruggiero and Richie Evans? 2 of the best who ever did it in a tour type modified. And Matt Hirschman looking to add his name to the likes of those two. So he's going to restart from the top side of the racetrack. Ronnie Williams down to the bottom. Patrick Emmerling alongside Tyler Ripkema there in row 2. Bello and Bertuccio in row 3. Goodale and Blewett back in row 4. Burt Myers and Teddy Hodgson coming to green in row 5. Those are your top 10 as we have 30 laps remaining on the hammer out of turn 4. Ripkema is going around, stacking them up out of 4. Bello's going to lose it as we have other cars sliding sideways coming to green.
Kind of stacked up, a little bit of brake checking going on, bumper tag, accordion style. Don't think we tore up anything too badly. 179, top qualifier Bello pulling away, but that left rear is down. Might be able to go to the pits and get that fixed. I think everybody pulling away. There goes Catalano as well as McCarthy in the 20 heading to pit road. You could kind of see that one start to develop over toward turn 4. After our first yellow flag of the race.
Everybody just getting itchy. They wanted to get on the hammer. Looks like it might just be a flat left rear tire, but he might have taken a bit of a shot to that. You see some damage to the Nerf bar there, Adam, so he might have taken a shot to that left rear corner. Let's take a look at the replay and see what happened over there.
Everybody ready to go except the front row, and then they get together. You see Bello get into Ripkema. Turns him around, everybody else nowhere to go.
And then Ripkema kind of spun around and then pinballed back into Bello, and that's what knocked the left rear tire off the rim. Yeah, everybody just stack it up right there off of turn 4.
Officials prefer the front row to start picking up the pace a little bit over in turn 3, gradually picking up the pace to the starting box, then going in the starting box. They really didn't start picking up the pace there. They kind of just kept a slow pace all the way to turn 4 in that box, and I think that's why they stacked up behind him a little bit. There's the 179 Bello machine crew going to work. Working on the front, working on the left rear, changing that left rear tire. I think we'll be able to continue. The problem for Bello is now we'll be restarting from the back, and there's a lot of cars to try to come through and avoid anything else that may happen.
So lap count stuck at 20 as we have 30 laps remaining. There's the Catalano automobile. Is the crew going to work on the left front corner of that car? He got nailed, I believe, in the left front wheel as he was going around.
20 down, 30 to go. Remember, the super late models will be coming up next with their 35 lap feature.
So going to 2 to go and the choose right here.
Get them lined up. Hirschman again takes the outside lane. Look at Bertuccio up into the 3rd spot now.
Bertuccio, the beneficiary of that incident over there. He's going to jump up into the 2nd row. Jimmy Blewett will start alongside Goodale back in row 3. Hodgson and Burt Myers back in row 4.
Bertuccio, 102 starts coming into the week in World Series competition. Been racing here into, I think, the late 90s. And I look back through some of the numbers. He's been racing as part of the World Series for a long time. 1 to go signal has been shown. Word from Jacqueline down there, the Tommy Catalano with a broken tie rod. Good information from Jacqueline all night long. As the new Smyrna Speedway pace car will bring it in this time, we'll see if we have a smoother restart. We'll see if they start to pick up the pace a little bit over in turn 3 as well. Williams to fight on the inside lane. Bertuccio and Emmerling in row 2. Blewett. Row 3 on the low lane. Green flag, turn 4 underway. 30 laps to go.
Much quicker restart right there, and no surprise. Hirschman on the hammer out of turn 4. He'll jump to the lead. And, Burt Myers is going to go hard into the outside wall in turn 2.
That car is used up. Big hit. You could see it got sideways. He corrected, and it shot back up the track. Hard into the wall, Burt Myers.
Boy, talk about no luck. Myers has really fought Lady Luck here the last couple of years. And that car really torn up after nearly going head-on into the turn 2 wall. And that will put us under the caution flag for the 3rd time here this evening. And we have been stuck on this 20 laps completed mark here. As first 20 laps were clean and green, and the last couple attempts here to get back racing have been plagued with incidents. This latest one will send Burt Myers to the pits with an early end here tonight.
One of the bigger hits we've seen this week. You can see car is tore up. Still 30 laps to go, 20 laps completed. Taking a look at the Flow Racing replay.
Outside row 4, there you see him outside of Blewett, and that car is just loose.
I think Hodgson got him in the left rear just a little bit, and then he corrects and back up the track hard.
Right at that number 2 painted on the wall. Ugh, hard hit.
See, right
yep,
there.
You're right.
On the left rear,
Yep.
Hodgson got him just a little bit. He stayed in the throttle, tried to correct, overcorrected a bit, and man, huge hit.
And I don't think that was anything Hodgson did intentionally. He was just up the racetrack a little bit.
The rear end of the car, up off the ground. Another
Good
look at it.
Yeah, good shot.
There's the contact.
There's the contact right there. And Hodgson was in the tire tracks of the 76 car. Oh.
Right side of that car used up. Here's a look at it full speed.
That's how quick it goes away right there.
Just that last little jerk to the right that could not save from that point on. Tried very hard to save and stay in the throttle, destroying the right front of the race car. Burt Myers, number 17, after the contact from Hodgson. It's also tight on those double file restarts.
And for those who don't know, the Myers family, it traces their racing roots back to the foundational days of NASCAR, racing on the beach, right across the inlet there in Daytona Beach. And family has been a part of stock car racing for a long, long time. And of course, Burt Myers has a lot of success up at the Madhouse, as Jacqueline said, as we went racing earlier this evening. And boy, just a tough way to end his night here tonight.
Going to try to cut off the bars on the right side so they can get that car back to the pits, just using one wrecker. If that doesn't work, they might have to cradle that car back to the pit area. 30 laps from the finish for the Tour Type Modifieds. A clean first 20 laps without any issues, and now a couple of tough ones right after the restart. Seen a lot of good action this week. Tonight's a little on the rough side, each of our races, except Prolates. Prolates did really well tonight.
And that was a really entertaining race. If we could get some green flag laps stacked up, I mean, even in the 602 feature, once we got those last, laps under green, that was a thrilling finish right there. So we know we can get it done. We just need some help from Lady Luck to get these laps strung off in green flag fashion rather than dealing with all this yellow fever here tonight.
Brought the cars to a stop in 1 and 2. Matt Hirschman leads. Ronnie Williams second. Patrick Emmerling runs third. He was up to second momentarily. Last completed lap pushes him back to third. We'll be back with more of this Tour Type Modified 50-lap feature after this on Flow Racing. Back at New Smyrna Speedway for the World Series of Asphalt Stock Car Racing. We've completed 20 of the 50 laps, 30 to go for Matt Hirschman. Some would say, let's just stop the race, give him the trophy. He's won the first 3 this week, dating back to Monday. But you never know what could happen. Jacqueline Drake down in the pits. Jacqueline, it's kind of been a wild couple of restarts.
Standing by here with Burt Myers. You were just involved in that incident, Burt. What did you see from your vantage point?
I'm going to have to watch a replay. The car just snapped. Sure thought I got hit from behind, but I don't want to say until we watch it. But the other night, I got knocked into marbles, and I came back down to get back in the racing groove, and I got clipped the guy when I did. And they said I caused the caution to put me in the rear. So with that in my mind, I was trying my best to get back down, but stay out of the way so that didn't happen again. And when I did, it just snapped back and put it in the fence. But tough break. We been fighting hard, and I thought we had a really good car, but I need to see the replay.
Tomorrow is going to be the 100-lapper. Will you be able to pull it back together for that?
We'll see. I got to look at it when we get back in here, but he got it pretty good.
You can hear the disgust in Burt Myers' voice. He knows that he took a hard hit. If they do get it back together, they pulled off a miracle overnight.
They would have, and I hope he pulls it off. I'd love to see him back in the field here tomorrow night and have a good run. I know he's got a lot after the television show, The Madhouse. He's got a lot of fans all across the country that follow him pretty intently, and it'd be great to have him back in the field here tomorrow as we looks like we're going to get the 2 to go in the choose right here. And to no surprise, Matt Hirschman back to the top side, Ronnie Williams to the bottom.
Patrick Emmerling again, restarting in the money spot. He'll try to follow Hirschman right to the front. Bertuccio inside of row number 2. Goodale, he's up in contention outside of row 3. Goodale started in 7th. He's up to 6th. He's in a pretty good spot right here if the outside lane moves forward as we expect it will.
See a couple of new names up in the top 10. Anthony Nacella for the first time tonight in the 92, and Joey Coulter in the 05 will start back in the 5th row here as we get ready to go back green flag racing with still 30 laps yet to go.
So we got the first 20 in without a yellow. Now 2 consecutive restarts that have failed because of crashes. One was a pile up coming off of 4, the other over in turn 2 when Burt Myers got some contact from Hodgdon. Sent the car sideways. He tried to save it. You could hear. He's like, I didn't want to come down in front of traffic and get charged with a yellow. Tried to stay in the gas. Tried to keep it rolling. When he did, it snapped back to the right and sent him into the fence. Here comes Hirschman outside of row number 1 for the restart. 30 laps to hold off the challengers, including every night's challenger for him. Patrick Emmerling restarting 4th.
See if we can make it down into turns 1 and 2 cleanly here on this restart. Emmerling going to roll to the outside of Ronnie Williams and try to latch onto that back bumper of Matt Hirschman. Emmerling will clear Williams for 2nd into 3, and now the battle on for 5th on back.
1st, 2nd, and 3rd single file. Goodale trying to challenge J.R. Bertuccio. Bertuccio able to clear him going into turn 1. Goodale fighting back. No can do. Coming off of 2. Bertuccio in 4th closes the door. Look at this. Coulter making some moves through the field. The outside of Blewett and Nocella in 3 and 4.
Now that 02 car a little closer to the front of the field, he's looking pretty sporty. Joey Coulter to the outside of Anthony Nocella down into turns 1 and 2.
Getting some laps in now after the 3rd try on restarts at the lap 20 yellow. There's Bertuccio in the white 2. He slips up, opens the door. Here comes Goodale to the inside for 4th position. Goodale inside, Bertuccio outside. Those 2 drivers year after year. A lot of starts right here at the World Series.
Goodale again trying to look inside of Bertuccio through 3 and 4. But Bertuccio keeping the 2 car wound up in the middle lane there. He's going to hold on to the position as Goodale now feeling some heat from Teddy Hodgdon on the back door.
Nocella peaking low. Here is the battle for 2nd upper left of the screen. Maybe some slight contact heading into turn 3. Emmerling has it. Williams wants it. Hirschman pulling away to no one's surprise, but it looks like Williams might be a little better than Emmerling here tonight.
Yeah, Williams had a great run into 3 last time down the back stretch. Following the tire tracks right now is Emmerling drifting up a little bit, maybe trying to mimic the line that Matt Hirschman's been running here the last couple of nights.
That's 2nd and 3rd, upper left of the screen. 4th, 5th, and 6th, lower right. Hodgdon the run in the 55. Hodgson started 10th, going now for position number 5.
Hodgson keeping that car down to the inside of the racetrack, but he can't make it stick. He's going to fall back in line between Eric Goodale. Now Goodale maybe trying to make the bottom side work as he's going to try to maybe look to the inside of Bertuccio, but can't quite get there. Can't quite get that car off the corner and down underneath Bertuccio as we come across the start-finish line. 22 laps remaining.
Hodgson peaking high. He's got a fast race car. That 55 is hooked up. In fact, making a run to the inside of Goodale in turn 3. Goodale closes the door, at least partially, as we continue to watch the battle for second position, upper left of the screen. Going to be 20 laps to go the next time they cross. Ronnie Williams in the 50. Still all over Patrick Emmerling, and Bertuccio trying to hold on to his first top 5 finish in a while in the 2-car lower right.
J.R. Bertuccio with a strong run going in that number 2. He has got that 5th position, the 4th position, as Goodale now feeling Teddy Hodgson knocking on the back bumper off of turn 2.
Kind of watching the 2-car Bertuccio. He's kind of running a little bit of a higher line than the rest of the field. Thought that would open up the inside and make it easy for Goodale, but watch this lane he runs down in 1 and 2, higher than the other competitors. It gives him a great run off of 2 and down the backstretch. Bertuccio keeps an opening down there for the 58 of Goodale. They just can't pull alongside.
Not quite enough room to pull that whole car down to the inside of Bertuccio. Looks very tempting that you want to stick the nose in there, but J.R. Bertuccio doing a nice job keeping the 58 of Eric Goodale at bay as we keep an eye on that battle for second and third on the racetrack. And you can see just in front, every now and then, you see that bright orange number 60 on that black car, Matt Hirschman. He's got about 0.8 of a second built up on Emmerling, and he's kept it there at 0.8 of a second. He's not really overextending that car as we now have 33 laps in the books, and Hodgson giving Goodale a shot, moving him up the racetrack.
Yeah, Goodale losing 2 spots down in turn 4. Nocella takes it, maybe 3 spots. Here comes Blewett. So all within 1 lap. And here comes Hodgson, the battle to the inside of the 2 of Bertuccio. Bertuccio will try to get back down and is able to do so to stay in the top 5. Teddy Hodgson from 10th to 4th. Really good run for the 55 car. And by far his best of the week. Finished 10th.
He just decided that Goodale was being too nice right there. He moved Goodale and he went up and moved Bertuccio. The 55 car said, I'm way too fast to be following you guys in line here. We're running out of laps. I got to go. And he moved them both, and he has set sail. I don't know that he's got enough time to get up there and catch Ronnie Williams, but the 55 car, Teddy Hodgson, pretty quick here in the late stages.
92 of Nocella, the 76 of Blewett, 58 car of Goodale, nose to tail, 02 of Coulter there, and the 24 of, next 25 of Roby actually joining that battle. Roby rounding out the top 10, so you see positions led by the 92 of Nocella, 6 through 10, closing on the 2 of Bertuccio. That car seems to be going away a little bit, fading here in the latter stages of the race. 12 laps to go, 38 laps completed.
Bertuccio holding on to P5 right now. Anthony Nocella with a good run in 6th. Laps ticking away. Next time across the start-finish line for our leader, Matt Hirschman, will be 10 to go as we keep an eye on this battle for 5th.
Nocella's going to look to the outside. Opens that door. He's got to be careful. He wants to go after the 2, but at the same time, he doesn't want to leave the door open. Oh, here we go. Oh, close the door. Bertuccio's going to get turned. And look out. Blewett makes it by. So does the 58 of Goodale. Bad break for Bertuccio, but at the same time, Hodgson had a run to the inside, and the door closed up.
You could see that one coming. You definitely could. It was go time.
And now Bertuccio's upset. Watch this. He is not a happy camper, as Bertuccio makes his way back up to show his displeasure, I'm sure, with the 55 of Hodgson.
I think that was the 92.
Or the 92 of Nocella. Yeah, Hodgson be able to get around him a few laps ago. So now he kind of settles in. 11 to go. So it's not over yet for Hirschman. Emmerling in second, Williams in third, Hodgson fourth. Then it was Bertuccio and Nocella in the battle for fifth. There it was. He got to the inside, goes to the bottom. So does Bertuccio, closes the door. Just nowhere for the 92 to go.
The 92, in his defense, was down on the flat of the racetrack. He could not go any lower. JR just tried to slam that door shut, and Nocella he's got to go. We're running out of laps, so I don't know that that's Nocella's fault. I don't know that that's JR's fault.
Right.
I think that's just a racing deal right
Happened quick.
It sure did. Oh. Wow. I'm going to point Ronnie Williams to a pit stall, understanding that the officials are hearing there may be some fluid on the racetrack, and they are worried that it may be coming from the 50 of Ronnie Williams, so they're going to check this race car. Now, traditionally, if it's not coming from this race car, they'll give him his spot back.
But it looks like it must be, because they pulled it right into the pit stall, and now they go under the hood. So they must have seen something trailing it coming into the pits as they brought it in to check it. And this is unfortunate for Williams. He was running third, having a solid race.
Best race of his week, actually. That is a tough break for Ronnie Williams.
Yeah, Williams has had solid runs this week. Was third last night, fifth the night before, so he's been up there mixing it up. Tonight was in line for at least a third as they look underneath to see where it's coming from.
And he had been all over the back bumper of that 14 car for the last 20 laps.
You can see it right there.
Yeah, definitely leaking some fluid.
Still dripping.
Yep.
Bad break for the 50 of Williams. There's the front of our field, led by Matt Hirschman. Patrick Emmerling and Charlie, third place.
I think that's going to be Mr. Excitement on this restart. Teddy Hodgen been looking pretty aggressive the last handful of laps. We saw him move Bertuccio. He moved Nocella. Look at all the rubber out on the racetrack, too. These big, fat, modified open-wheel tires kicking off a lot of rubber debris here. These long green flag runs.
Had a lot of laps turned on this racetrack tonight. A lot of laps, especially if you count the yellow flag periods that we've had in the first couple of races. 11 to go. Could be a final shootout to the checkered in this 50-lap tour-type modified feature. Thank everyone for checking out our coverage tonight here on Flow Racing. Matt Hirschman had the luck of the draw tonight, qualified third. The invert was a 3 set by the top qualifier, which was Anthony Bello. Bello had his issues earlier in the race.
We saw him get spun on that initial restart, lost the left rear tire, had to make a pit stop, and Bello not on the racetrack at this moment, back in the 24th position. Just a good look at Teddy Hodgson right there in the 55.
Emmerling has finished second all 3 nights this week. He's only been beaten by one guy, Matt Hirschman.
One of the Baldwin boys hanging out in the grandstands watching tour-type feature. Looks like Jack Baldwin right there.
Jacqueline, a rough night for the number 50 of Ronnie Williams. Was running strong and then liquid, causing his departure from the race.
Yeah, standing by right here with Ronnie Williams. Unfortunate end for you. Did you have anything left, though, these final laps for the 2 guys in front of you?
Maybe Emmerling. Hirschman's in a league of his own right now, so yeah, it sucks. Hopefully we can get it fixed tomorrow, but we'll see. We had a good run. Can't thank these guys enough, and see if we can get back out tomorrow.
Prior to that, Ronnie Williams is going to get his third place coming from last night.
He looked to be on his way to third. He was running well. Thought that he had something. You heard it there. You thought he might have had something. Maybe Patrick Emmerling. He said, but Hirschman's in a league of his own, and I think he's correct there.
I think he was too, but he certainly had a car that was the match for Patrick Emmerling tonight. And, you know, anything can happen with the final 10 laps here. So kind of a shame that Ronnie won't get a chance to see as we go through the choose with the 2 to go signal given here at start finish. Matt Hirschman to the inside this time. Hey, I bet you he remembers what happened last night.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's got the filing cabinet open on this one.
Last night, they go into turn 1 on one of the restarts, and Emmerling was on the inside, took him way up the track in 1 and 2. Hirschman fell back to like 5th.
Yeah.
Fortunately for Hirschman, yellow flag came out, so they restarted it again. That time, he expected the 14 to do the same, so he checked up a little bit, got a run on the top, crossed over as the 14 pushed up in turn 2, and he went on to the victory. Tonight, he's not going to allow that to be the case. He's going to choose the inside, then he will control where the turn ends and begins, I guess, down in turns 1 and 2.
Teddy Hodgson to the inside of Anthony Nacella in row 2. Jimmy Blewett, Eric Goodale back there in row 3. Joey Coulter, Ryan Roby, first time we've seen him this close to the front. Andrew Kraus back there in row 5. Looks to be Spencer Davis rounded out the top 10 as we start to pick up the pace in 3 and 4. Green flag back out with 11 laps yet to go. And Patrick Emmerling with a power move on the restart. He's going to jump to the lead.
Emmerling up the track in 1 and 2. Here comes Hirschman trying to fight back. Still 11 to go. They're waving it off and the yellow lights are on because Emmerling started a little bit sooner than the race leader, Matt Hirschman. And if you're Emmerling, that's worth a try.
Hey, got to try it. We saw
it's
it
the right
tonight.
call.
Yep, got to try it. I'd try it.
Yep. He's going to need something special to beat the 60 into turn 1 and 2. And the 14 did start early down in turn 4. 60 controls the pace here.
And again, and knowing the history that these two have had over the course of the last couple of days, you got to try it. You absolutely have to.
They have warned the 14 about jumping the start. 60 controls it. 14 started first down in the corner. 60 of Hirschman, the leader. 11 laps to go. So you notice that Hodgson, the third place car, decided to take the inside, and I think that was because Hirschman chose the inside. He wants to follow him through. They stay with the same restart lineup. Caution lights are off on the pace car. The 14 has been warned for starting early. Hirschman and Emmerling have finished first and second the last 3 nights. Coming to green this time. Hodgson, Nocella, row 2. Blewett, Goodale, row 3. Coulter, Roby, row 4. Green in turn number 4 this time. This time it is Hirschman getting the slight advantage coming off of turn number 4. Heading into 1, contact between the two. They both continue on.
Emmerling bounced it off the fence. Now he's going to try to track Matt Hirschman down the backstretch. Hodgson and Nocella doing a nice job to evade contact right there on that restart. Now Hirschman starting to stretch it out as Coulter with a big-time move to try to take over 6th into 1 from Goodale.
Looked like Hirschman may be squeezing the 14 of Emmerling a little bit going into that first corner, trying to take his lane away, and Emmerling getting up against the wall. Fortunately, his car's okay as the top 2 pull away again. 9 laps to go, watching 3rd and 4th about to battle. Double wide a little further back.
And that's the one thing about these tour-type modifieds. They got the big bars hanging off both sides of these race cars. They can take a little bit of a shot without doing any damage to the suspension. But that was a big-time hit Patrick Emmerling took to that outside wall coming back to green. That car's still up to speed.
Final 8 laps, 42 completed. Coulter's had a nice run coming through the field. His car pretty good. And race trim here. The 02 ready to make a run again at Goodale. Follows closely into 3 and 4.
Nacella, who has taken 3rd away from Teddy Hodgson. Looks like Nacella might have been up into the outside wall based on the color of the outside of those right side tires.
Hodgson, great run tonight, still in 4th, trying for 3rd, a little bit quicker than Nocella here, but the outside lane was actually an advantage that time for Nocella, was able to hold off the 55 of Hodgson. Trying different lanes as they make the way through 1 and 2 that time. Coming to 5 to go. Final 5 laps for Matt Hirschman.
And there's a look at our leader as he works his way off of 4. There's the gap between him and Patrick Emmerling in the 14. Emmerling got a comfortable advantage over this battle for 3rd and 4th. Anthony Nacella holding on to 3rd as Teddy Hodgson trying to find a way around. Hodgson's going to dip to the inside into 3. He's down on the flat. Nacella gives him room. They're wheel to wheel off of 4.
Well, the 55 hooked 3 and 4 very nicely. He drove in hard, thought he might push up and get into the 92 of Nocella. He did not, as they're still side by side for the third spot down to the final laps. 3 to go this time. What a run into turn 3. Nocella not giving him a lot of room on the bottom. Look how close. Great shots from up above.
Yeah, Anthony Nocella really trying to keep Teddy Hodgson at bay here. He didn't slam the door shut. Oh, contact as Nocella's going to bounce off the wall off of turn 2.
That was a heck of a save, Charlie. He saved a race car. He started to lock up the tires. We've seen a few drivers do that tonight. When you lock them up, your car goes abruptly to the right and you hit the wall. He did for a second, slowed it down, then he let go of the brake and it was able to steer it off the wall. Great save by Nocella.
He's going to drop from 4th to 6th, and now he's feeling some pressure from Joey Coulter as they're going to single out. White flag up this time around. One more time. One more lap for Matt Hirschman here in the 60.
Hirschman off of turn 2 down the back straightaway. Races off into the third corner. Hirschman 3 for 3 so far this week. And Tortup modified action tonight will make it 4 for 4. Yet another win. 7 in a row at New Smyrna for Matt Hirschman. Brian Roby up against the wall in 1 and 2 has knocked the right front down on that car. Other than those few restarts we had middle portion of the race. And there's even more. Martino in the 9. 71 of Rakowski over there. The 11 car. Norman Newman. Some crashes taking place on the final lap coming to the checkered. Matt Hirschman does it again. We'll be interested to hear from Emmerling what he thinks on that final restart as well.
Yeah.
See the Nerf bar pushed up on the side of Hirschman's car. Emmerling and Hodgson. What a run for Hodgson in the 55.
Great run by Teddy Hodgson in that 55 car. He's kind of had a tough week, but closing it out in style here tonight as he's going to end up P3 behind the 2 drivers who have been the class of the field here this week. So there's no shame in that game as we await our winner, Matt Hirschman, down in victory lane.
Having a little deja vu right now.
Deja vu again and again.
First and second, Hirschman and Emmerling, 4 nights in a row. And Emmerling, such a good car, such a good ride this week. Nobody, though, challenging Hirschman with yet another victory here at the World Series. Tomorrow night, 100 laps, where Hirschman has been so dominant in recent years. 6 Richie Evans Memorial wins. We'll look for his 7th tomorrow night. And I think the Vegas odds, it won't win you much. If you choose
even
the
odds,
60
maybe?
car.
Yeah, even odds, maybe.
As we send it down to victory lane and Jacqueline Drake.
Matt Hirschman in that number 60. He's going to exit out of his car victorious again. Congratulations, Matt. Another victory here at New Smyrna. How did you keep your composure in those final laps with the contact?
I obviously couldn't trust him after last night to take the top like you normally would. So, but I took the bottom and, he was into my side the whole way down the straightaway. So I couldn't even turn my car to the left until I got to the corner. So, but like I said, I don't want to race that way, but we as a team don't even know what he's talking about last night, that he owed me that and more. I watched the video. He never even was turning his wheels to the left in the middle of the corner. So I ended up in Pat's clam stand last night, so it wasn't happening tonight.
Congratulations, Matt Hirschman, your winner this evening in the Tour Modifieds.
Pat's clam stand down there in 1 and 2. So Matt Hirschman claims the win. Patrick Emmerling, yet another second-place run. You could see on the replay there, as we were hearing from Hirschman, that contact that took place going into 1. Emmerling wasn't all the way at the top of the racetrack. Kind of bumped going in because Hirschman went out to take a better angle into the corner, and the 2 made contact. Second-place run for Emmerling. It's been a great week, but he'd like it to be just a little bit better, Jacqueline.
Yeah, your second-place finisher this evening, Patrick Emmerling. Of course, you had that contact there with Matt Hirschman once again. What were your thoughts when that happened?
Yeah, I mean, we were just, racing hard, and, he turned right on me at the end of the straightaway, and, we're both doing what we can to win races here, and, Yeah, I mean, tonight I got to thank the whole crew, Billy, Joe, and everyone involved in the Advantage Motorsports crew. We've been having an awesome race car, and I feel like every night we make some adjustments, we make the car just a little bit better. So even though at the beginning of the race I thought we were a little bit, I didn't think we were the best, but then it came in for us, and we were definitely a second-place car again. But I saw the 60 had to run. He was definitely running as hard as he was running pretty hard there at the end, and the way his car was looking, and we're gonna keep on working on getting a little bit better and get back out there.
Last night you alluded to a little bit of the contact you had last year with Matt Hirschman, who just responded and said he was not sure exactly what you meant by that. What would your response be?
Yeah, it would be, Spencer Speedway. He knows that. So I don't know if his memory is that short, but I don't know if he has memory problems. But yeah, there's a few little things there. And also, little things, he'll have a car that's 2/10 faster than mine, just drive into me in the middle of the straightaway, just stuff like that, running into you on restarts. And also his restart tactics, wrecking probably 3 or 4 cars, there on one of the last restarts. It's just stuff like that. Just, a lot of the competitors, just get a little bit annoyed because his car's fast enough this week where he doesn't have to do that. So just stuff like that irritates people.
Patrick Kimmerly, he's going to finish second tonight.
Well, I think she opened up the old can of worms down there, didn't she?
I'm never going to ask Patrick Everling what he feels about me. Wow.
He has a list.
He does. He's got a list. He's going to let you hear all about it, too. And I got to give Jacqueline a lot of credit for that follow-up.
Yes, good follow-up.
We've seen the tension build between these two all week, and, we've got one more night. Could be part of the story tomorrow night come that Richie Evans 100.
Third place finisher, Teddy Hodgson, great run from 10th to 3rd. Jacqueline?
Absolutely. Great way charging through the field today. Teddy, now on the podium, you had a little bit of contact there on track with Anthony Nocella. What was going through your mind when that happened?
Well, we've had a lot of struggles, to say the least, this week, with a blown engine on Monday, sidelined us then and Tuesday, and just to be out on track with these guys is a miracle within this team. But we were in a great spot to be in a podium finish here, which is something I haven't done in a long time. So, I put it all on the line. Didn't mean to really do it that way, but it was all on the cards there. So, I'm just glad everyone got away pretty much unscathed. So, I'm just so grateful for the team behind me to put all the effort into these last 4 days. It's been quite a turnaround from Monday.
Well, congratulations on your third place finish and continuing to charge ahead.
A little bit of, I thought we were going to have a skirmish there on the front straightaway. Tempers are close to boiling over a little bit after that Tour Type Modified feature event. 50 more laps in the books, 35 yet to go. The super late models are next on Flow Racing. Well, there's Patrick Emmerling. We were used to seeing him in his own team car, the 07. We saw that on Saturday, but here tonight, driving the 14 yet again, and he's been so fast this week. It's frustrating. Still got a smile on his face, even when he was explaining the situation with him and the 60 of Hirschman. Still kind of had a smile on his face.
Yeah, he's driving the 14 car that's owned by Lancaster Speedway Modified Track champion Joey Stearns. I think that's Tony Hirschman there on the left.
Matt's brother.
Yeah.
Spotter.
Yeah.
And an online racer.
Yeah, big time iRacer.
So the top 3 on the front straightaway in the Tour Type Modified event, they'll get ready to head to the pits so we can get these super late models on there. The Richie Evans Memorial 100 coming up tomorrow night. And
so
maybe anticipation and drama builds for that one.
Who do you think's going to run 1-2 tomorrow night? I don't know, Adam. Who could it be? Yeah.
Maybe the 60 and the 14 would be the favorites, but
I can't wait.
Hodgson was so good tonight in the
really
55. If he can qualify half decent, he started tonight in 10th. So the announcement has come to clear the front straightaway because I think they were to just hang out on the front stretch all night long.
Usually these guys are used to running last on the card. So, yeah, they didn't realize we still have one more race to go here tonight.
So the super late models are getting lined up. Smallish field again tonight after the 34-car field that we had for the ASA Southern Super Series on Tuesday. Gabe Summers will start on the pole tonight. Best qualifying effort for Gabe. Made the invert. It was a 4. Puts himself on the pole. Gio Ruggiero in the 22 will start second. William Sawalich, a great week at competition for the number 2. And the top qualifier coming off his first win of the week last night was Casey Roderick. The 18 starts 4th.
I spent the day with Connor Mosack over at Daytona as he practiced for the ARCA Menard Series race on Saturday. He and I both raced each other over. I think I beat him today. I think I got to the racetrack here quicker than he did today, but Connor will roll off from the 5th position. He will start alongside the other Connor Jones in the 44J will start from 6th. Brandon Short starting from the 7th spot alongside Nick Noggle in the 08, who will start P8 tonight.
Starting 9th is the 9 of Brad May. Kind of been a tough week for Brad May. We've seen him compete for the championships in these World Series in the past. Just been slightly off. He did race his way through the field a little bit in recent nights. James Lynch in the 76 starting 10th. Stephen Nassy back tonight after a night off. Had a great run, but fell out while leading with mechanical issues. The rear end going on Nassy's car 2 nights ago. Derek Griffith will start in the 12th spot. Rounding out our field, Billy Van Meter, Austin Terrace, and Stephen Weaver Jr. Jacqueline? Jacqueline, go ahead, take it away.
Standing by with the 51 of Stephen Nassy, the Southern Super Series champion, who has been struggling this week with a steering issue on that 51. They took it back to the shop yesterday. They feel confident. He said, I am focusing on the 100 lapper tomorrow. We'll see how it turns out today for the 51.
Yeah, Stephen Nassy didn't qualify, I'm sure, as well as he would have liked to tonight, but they can work on the car, I'm sure, wanting to come back and run that 100-lap race on Saturday night, the Orange Blossom 100. He's another one of those competitors we expect to see at the majority, if not all, of the ASA Stars National Tour events. That all begins on the weekend of March 10th and 11th at Five Flag Speedway in Pensacola, Florida, where the ASA Stars National Tour, new series, brings all of the racing series together here on the east side of the United States. From the ASA Midwest Tour, the ASA Southern Super Series, and the ASA CRA Super Series. And that first of 10 races paying $20,000 to win at Five Flag Speedway Saturday, March 11th. They do have tickets on sale now on the FiveFlagSpeedway.com website. Some big names coming in. The entries, I've been watching them come in, and there's some good ones. Preston Peltier, recent entry. Ty Majeski's on that list. Carson Hocevar. Bubba Pollard going to run all 10 of those races this year. Stephen Nassy. The list goes on and on of some of the strong entries that have come in this first week that the entry blank has opened up. That's going to be a great start to that tour Saturday, March 11th.
Love the energy that is building around the ASA Stars National Tour for sure. And we saw a lot of energy for the Southern Super Series Regional Tour here on Tuesday night. Great 34-car starting field here, and just an impressive group of cars putting on a great show here in their season opener.
We've seen in recent years Gabe Summers from Plover, Wisconsin, a 19-year-old, and came in racing the last couple of seasons here, had made 16 World Series starts this year. He's finished the races 6th and 14th and 8th and 12th, but he hasn't made the invert. Tonight he does. He starts from the pole position, and he's more of a World Series veteran than the other competitors that he's starting beside, believe it or not. The 22 of Ruggiero, the 2 of Sawalich, Roderick. He hasn't even raced that much here at the World Series until this year when hooking up with the Anthony Campy racing team. The 18 has really been the one to beat this week, but he didn't pick up his first win until last night.
And it's been a few hours, so we might have forgotten this, but Anthony Campy Racing's already been in victory lane one time earlier tonight. Katie Hettinger picking up the win in the 35-lap Pro Late Model Feature event. So Casey Roderick would like to bookend that one here tonight and pick up his second consecutive Super Late Model victory here this week. going to have some fast race cars directly in front of him that he's going to have to find a way around, and a couple of pretty good quick race cars directly behind him as well.
Gio Ruggiero starting on the outside of row number 1 in the 22 car, getting the 1 to go signal. Ruggiero, 4 features this week, has been in the top 5 in all of them. His best finish has been 3rd. Sawalich inside of row number 2. William Sawalich, 16-year-old from Minnesota, won the first super late model race of the week. He also has a 3rd place finish, a 2nd place finish, and a DNF during the night of the ASA Southern Super Series event. He had mechanical issues that sent him pit side. We're ready for green. Turn 4 this time. Gabe Summers, 4th quick in qualifying, coming to turn 4 to get this one underway. 35 laps the distance.
Green flag out. Gabe Summers picks up the pace. He's going to jump in front of Gio Ruggiero to take the lead. Ruggiero has his teammate William Sawalich to the inside, side by side off of 2.
Into turn 3, inside lane. Moving forward as Ruggiero falls back to the 3rd spot. Casey Roderick. That car has been really good. Last night, the first night they brought this car out, they had the other car the first few nights, and they felt that 2nd place wasn't good enough, Charlie. They wanted to do a little better, and they brought the other car, this one, and it was fast. And he picked up the convincing victory. Team was elated. Then, of course, like you mentioned, the Hettinger win, which seems like hours ago. As Roderick will take 3rd away from the 22 of Ruggiero, kind of pushes up the track a little bit over in turn 2 and takes the 3rd spot away.
Right now, Gabe Summers showing the way off of turn 4. William Sawalich, first time we've seen him this close to the lead in a couple of nights. He's following in the tire tracks. Off of turn 2, dipping to the inside. Look at the 2 Connors going at it down the backstretch. Connor Jones in the 44 car to the inside of Connor Mosak. This a battle just outside the top 5. Actually, the battle for 5th.
At the line that time, Mosak has it in the outside groove. He's quietly had a solid week as Connor Mosak. Mosak from North Carolina has picked up all top 10 finishes, 1 in the top 5, with his 4th being his best. Upper left, we've seen a change for the lead. Sawalich out front. Now Summers in 2nd. Not any longer. Here comes Casey Roderick. The 2 get together a little bit. Summers has to save it coming off of turn 2.
Nice save, but it looks like he's going to give up some more ground to Gio Ruggiero in the 22 car. And right now, William Sawalich has got to get going. He needs to put... Oh, what's that smoke out of the 18?
Saw some smoke coming down the straightaway from Roderick's number 18. I don't know if he had knocked in a fender or what it might be, but definitely a little bit of smoke. Still seems to be running up to speed. The 18 of Roderick. Just a little bit coming down the straightaway. Not a lot, but definitely enough to, I'm sure, bring on some concern as Nicholas Noggle looks to move to the front.
Good run by Nick Noggle going in the 08 car here in the early going, but you definitely do see some smoke trailing the 18 car whenever we come down through here this section of the racetrack, the way the lighting falls, as Nick Noggle battling and taking over that position from Connor Mosak. So move Nick Noggle up to 6th.
So Noggle on his way to the front, started in 8th, running strong, maybe his best run of the week, tries to catch Connor Jones. There's the leaders coming by the line. Sawalich leads, Roderick 2nd, Ruggiero 3rd, Gabe Summers, after leading early, has fallen to 4th. Brad May, there's Stephen Nassy trying to come forward. There's the 18 of Brandon Short. They made some strides on this car. He's only been in action a couple nights. He ran the Southern Super Series race, was the first night of the week, the 18, but he qualified 7th tonight. Put him close to the invert. James Lynch has had a decent week in his first World Series appearance. Stephen Nassy already, those front rotors glowing, trying to make his way toward the front.
A couple of young drivers in Brandon Short and James Lynch going toe-to-toe with 2 of the best super late model drivers in the country in Stephen Nassy and Derek Griffith.
They just haven't been able to get up there and show the same amount of success that they've had in recent years, where every night seemed like they were fighting for a top 3 and a podium spot. Upper left, Connor Jones, he's in 4th. Gabe Summers 5th, Nicholas Noggle 6th. Lower right, it's led by the 18 of Brandon Short in 9th. Nassy moving forward.
Gabe Summers in the 15 car fighting a very loose race car right now. That car, the rear end is jumping out of it. And talking about the rear end jumping out of it, Brandon Short almost had the rear end jump out from underneath him off of turn 2 as James Lynch Gave him a little tap with the bumper off of turn 2 right there, and Short's going to lose a couple of positions.
Wow, Van Meter makes contact, and they're hooked up going into the corner. Van Meter, and again, makes contact with the 18 of Short and turns himself around and puts it nose first into the wall in turn 2. Couple of different times making contact with Short's 18, and Van Meter goes down and gets the inside wall. 22 laps to go. We get the first 13 in before Yellow Sawalich's lead has now evaporated. It was at a half a second. Caution for Van Meter, who will try to pull away. See how much damage is actually done here.
Looks like the front end is taking quite a beating there in the number 23. Good looking race car. Of course, the Van Meter family, longtime participants in the CRA Super Series late model tour up in the Indiana, Michigan, Ohio area.
His dad Eddie picking up the CRA championship this past year. Billy finishing in the top 3 as well. As we look at the Flow Racing replay coming down the front stretch, Billy Van Meter goes up, gets into the left rear of Short. They're hooked up. They go down into the corner. They come apart, and then again up into the side and spins himself around.
That's where the real damage to the nose came, is when he slid down off the racetrack and down into the grass. And right there, they were hooked together and just didn't look like they could come apart. And they finally did, and then got together one more time.
Good shots on our Flow Racing replays. Pretty hard hit down into the infield. Surprised it didn't get the radiator, if it didn't. Terrace has also gone to the pits under this yellow flag. 22 laps to go. The field is doubled up. The leader, Sawalich, has taken the outside lane. The 18 of Roderick goes to the inside. Then it's Jones and Ruggiero in row 2. Noggle and Summers in row 3.
Let's keep an eye on that 18 car on this restart. Casey Roderick coming off his first ever World Series win right here last night. He was reeling in William Sawalich before we went yellow. And as he said earlier in the week, Adam, he is not here to finish second.
Word from Jacqueline, the Terrace 29 went to the pits under that yellow for a sway bar adjustment. Maybe trying to fine-tune that car before Saturday's 100. Pace car lights are off. The leader is Sawalich, looking for his second win of the week. Same can be said for Roderick. He has one win coming off of last night's event. Controlling the pace should be the 2 car of Sawalich. They get on the gas about the same time, coming down the front stretch, nearly running out of room going into turn 1.
And Casey Roderick with a great restart. He's got the nose in front. Can he clear Sawalich off of 2? He does. So give Casey Roderick the lead. Sawalich in second, and look at Connor Jones up to third. Best run we've seen for Connor Jones in the super late model here this week.
So Roderick out front, still leaving a little bit of smoke out down the straightaway. Noggle will pass Ruggiero there for the position. Brad May, Gabe Summers racing hard for a spot outside the top 5.
There is a good veteran save right there from someone who has a lot of experience at this racetrack. Oh, I thought Gio was going around. Gio Ruggiero in the 22 with a good save at the other end of the racetrack.
A lot of side-by-side action back in the field here. Outside lane with Brad May, multi-time track champion here at New Smyrna Speedway. Picks up the spot from Gabe Summers. They start to single out a little bit. Mosak still running the high lane of Derek Griffith. Just weird to see Derek Griffith running this far back in the field.
Normally expect him to be up in the top 2 or 3, and he's been mired deep in the top 10 here this week.
Doesn't take much, just a little bit off, and they can't find that little bit extra, and that's been the case for Griffith this week. I mean, he has a few 7th place finishes, but normally those 7th place finishes are like 2nd or 3rd place finishes.
Working to the inside of Connor Mosak off of turn 2, the 12G.
Halfway as we complete lap 18, 17 laps to go in this 35-lap feature. Griffith ready to challenge pole sitter Gabe Summers. So Summers and the team qualified well tonight. Haven't been able to match that effort here during the race as he has fallen back a little bit. Summers running in the 7th position, young driver from Wisconsin. Lynch is ready to go after the 28 car. Mosak, here he goes to the inside.
James Lynch has been impressive a couple of different times throughout the course of this week, driving that number 76 car, a car he acquired from legendary crew chief and former driver Bobby Blount. Bobby helping him with the setup on that car here this week.
15 laps to go, lap 20 on the board. Our final race of the night for our 7th night of action at the World Series of Asphalt Stock Car Racing.
Stephen Nasse tracking down James Lynch right there. We've seen Nasse do this several times over the years, where he will come and use these 35-lap sprint races as a test session for the big races that we have here throughout the week. We saw him do it earlier this week, as a matter of fact, as there he is, Nasse dropping off the pace in that 51.
So he has seen enough as he will come to the pits. Might just be a matter of he's learned what he needed to learn tonight.
Exactly right.
I think he knows with 13 to go, he's not coming through the field. As the 18 of Roderick leads the way, pulling away from Sawalich. Roderick looking to win his 2nd in a row. 12 to go. Sawalich running in 2nd, but fading back a little bit.
Just trying to keep Roderick in his sights right now is Hunter Wright off the pace in the 29.
We've seen Hunter Wright in a couple of these super late model races, in addition to the pro late model starts, where he is a point contender, despite Connor Jones having such a great week. There's Mosak. We saw momentarily running in the 9th position.
Mosak has given up a lot of track position here this evening. That car not at all handling to his liking.
Nicholas Noggle this week, 11th, 24th, 18th, and 9th. Tonight, all of a sudden, even though he's being challenged by Ruggiero here, he's in the 4th spot, trying to take it away as Ruggiero. To the inside, he pulls forward. Now he's in trouble falling out of the top 5, as here comes the 9 of Brad May. May has raced pretty well the last couple of nights, has not qualified well.
Noggle did a nice job forcing his way in between Ruggiero and Brad May right there.
Nose to tail. Brad May just outside of the top 5. He's running in 6th. The red, white, and blue, number 9. Multi-time champion, World Series champion in the past as well. And a perennial top contender in the pro and super lates for years here during the month of February.
Looks like Brad may have a little bit of damage to the left corner of the nose on the 9 car. He may have gotten some contact on that crazy restart we had back at the midpoint of the race. Still 7 laps remaining here as this is the battle for 5th, 6th, and 7th.
Gabe Summers trying to come back forward again after falling to 7th position. Has a look to the inside, gets back in line. Summers, another driver, expected to be at the season opening event for the ASA Stars National Tour event March 11th at Pensacola. Going to be 5 to go this time for Casey Roderick, and you see the battle continue between Nicholas Noggle in 5th, Brad May 6th. Gabe Summers opens the door, peaking low is Derek Griffith.
Griffith looking to work his way past Gabe Summers. If he does, maybe pick up a 3rd, 7th place finish throughout the course of our week here at New Smyrna Speedway. Jump back up to the front of the field. There's Casey Roderick clicking those laps off. He's going to come to 3 to go this time around. It's now Griffith looking to the inside of Summers down the back.
Upper left of the screen, the leader. By himself, the lead continues to grow. This time at the stripe, 1.3 the differential in seconds for Roderick over Sawalich. We continue to watch lower right of the screen. Derek Griffith and Gabe Summers side by side. That is for 7th.
Summers did a nice job pinching Derek Griffith down to the inside right there. Really killed Griffith's momentum. Summers able to hold on to 7th as we've got just 2 to go this time by.
Griffith has 3 7th place finishes this week, looking for his 4th, but he's got to get by the 15 of Summers to do it. One final lap for Casey Roderick in the 18, gets the white flag, looking for his 2nd win of the week. What a week it's been for Roderick.
Anthony Campy Racing going to victory lane earlier this evening with 15-year-old Katie Hettinger. And for the 2nd night in a row, they're going to go to victory lane here in the super late model feature. Casey Roderick off at turn 4, taking the checkered flag, picking up his 2nd straight super late model victory.
Average finish of about 1.5. That's how good Casey Roderick has
Not
been
bad.
this week. Two wins in a row for Roderick. Sawalich, good run for the young man in the two. William Sawalich, pretty impressive, Charlie.
Yeah, that is a very talented young man with a big future ahead of him. And while he hasn't been to victory lane as often as I think he would like to this week, he has had a very solid and very steady week in that Donnie Wilson Motorsports prepared number 2. And how about Connor Jones? First time we've seen him pick up a top 3 finish in the super late model division here. So a great run for that young man and a pair of solid performances for him tonight.
Yeah, Connor Jones, a 5th, 6th, a 7th, a 26th, and now a 3rd. So his best super late model run, as you said. This guy right here, though, Casey Roderick, after going to the other car, they had to run a different car the first few races of the week, and they were good. I mean, second, and third's pretty good, but it wasn't good enough, so they changed cars. Now they've won the last 2. Obviously eyeing that 100-lap race this coming Saturday and eyeing the championship for the World Series as well. As Casey Roderick, boy, that team tonight, the Katie Hettinger win in the Pro Late Models and the Super Late Model win for Casey Roderick, getting it done here tonight at the World Series. As we send it down to victory lane yet again, Jacqueline Drake.
Casey Roderick's going to look at his teams. They all came up to congratulate him in that number 18 Team Platinum ACR. Quick again tonight, like you guys said, back-to-back wins, and wow, what a team sweep at that with Katie Hettinger, and now Casey Roderick going to get the water and exit out of that car. Receive congratulations from the team. Big team on this ACR. Casey, congratulations. Wow, what a win that was. Finally, I'm passing on that contact there, but you had a clean race, even with a little bit of a tire rub there. What are you going to take from tonight to the notebook and apply for tomorrow for the 100-lapper?
Oh, well, we made some adjustments there today. Try to get a little better, and feel like we were just a little bit too snug there. But it's still a good race. Got the W. That's what we wanted, and I want to thank everybody that's worked so hard on this car and also the pro car. Both classes are doing really well right now, and just thankful to be a part of this. Thank Platinum Express for everything they're doing for me this year, and we'll keep it rolling here, get some more wins, and good points night again tonight for the World Series, and on to tomorrow.
Casey Roderick, your winner tonight in the Super Late Model Division. We'll see if we can keep it rolling for tomorrow.
Yet another win for Casey Roderick. They kind of had that team hook up with Roderick for the Snowball Derby and come back to the World Series. They ran at Speedfest as well. I think a bright 2023 season in store for that combination between Anthony Campy Racing and Casey Roderick. I just think that combination is a good one. William Sawalich, a second-place run tonight.
Congratulations, William. Another podium finish for you. What more do you need out of that number 2 as you look forward to the 100-lapper?
Yeah, I think we just don't need to be pushed up on the restart like that. If he's that faster, I think he can pass us clean. Even last night, he didn't really try. He just moved me and didn't really give me a chance. So if you think you're that much faster, I think you should pass me clean.
William Sawalich going to bring it home in second place tonight.
Well, William wasn't happy with the way the pass was made.
Well, we didn't get a Pat's Clam Stand reference right there, but I think there's still a little, maybe some beef brewing right there between those two. And usually you see William Sawalich with a big smile on his face post-race, even when he finishes second. Not tonight.
Wasn't happy with Casey Roderick.
Absolutely
So restart
not.
there as Casey Roderick knew he had to go. He was faster down the stretch pulling away, but had he fallen back into second in line, would have been a tough pass to make. Third place run for the 44 of Connor Jones. Jones, his first podium finish when it comes to super late model racing this week. Jacqueline?
Congratulations, Connor, here on the podium in the Super Late Model Division. I know you were just speaking a little bit about the car handling with Marcus Richmond, but how did you think your car performed tonight in comparison to the rest of the week?
I thought it was definitely the best the car's felt this entire week. Obviously, because we got P3 finish, podium, first podium of the week in the Super, and really happy that we got one, but wish it was a little earlier. But, I mean, it is what it is. But I wouldn't be able to do this without Tool Shack, Jones Utilities, Pepperjack Kennels, NutriSource Pet Food, Fire Suppression Solutions, and R&S Race Cars. Everybody who puts us together to make it a full race team, and to come out here and be successful like this, it feels really good.
Congratulations, Connor Jones. Going to bring it home in third place tonight.
Thank you, Jacqueline, as we have finished up our post-race festivities in the Super Late Model Division. We'll take a look at the highlights. There's where Wayne Parker cut down that right front tire in our first race, the Florida Mods.
Tough night for Wayne Parker, and it's even tougher night for Jerry Simons right there in the 66. But, hey, he got his point across post-race.
There's
Checking the helmet.
Pro Late Models. Carson Brown taking the early lead. Oh, there's Katie Hettinger and Brown get together. Heck of a save by Brown.
I thought we were going to go yellow there, but we didn't. And Katie Hettinger drove off to an impressive first career World Series victory. And how about this stack up in the 602 feature? Big time crash.
Another one over here in turn 2. They weren't done yet.
I think this is when we decided we were going to start counting caution laps right there. But an impressive run. Second consecutive victory by Luke Baldwin.
Well, and there's the Tour Type modifiers in the 17. Big hit for Burt Myers. And there's the contact at the front between the 60 of Hirschman, the 14 of Emmerling. Hirschman wins yet again.
I think that's where we get our Pat's Clamp Stand reference right there.
Super Late Model feature on the racetrack, and there's the winning pass for the lead on a restart as the 18 of Casey Roderick claims victory on night 7 of the World Series. 2 nights remain. Richie Evans Memorial 100 coming up tomorrow night for the Tour Type Modifieds. Also determine a champion there. Will it be first and second for Hirschman and Emmerling yet again? We'll be back with more racing. 2 more nights to go at the World Series on Flow Racing. For Charlie Crawl and Jacqueline Drake, I'm Adam Mackey saying so long from New Smyrna.